It was really them. No wonder that dragon attacked Felta. Today is a beautiful sunny day. But their hearts are cold and impure, so they will gladly help them. With the help of the scorching core that disappeared among the people, everyone began to scatter as soon as Su Nian struck them with fire. He'd better not forget that this man is a 4th-level warrior. The main character asked what had happened to Togo. The man asked if he dared to fight him one-on-one. After all, they were both 4th-level warriors. And although humans were no match for a dragon, he was not like the others. He was a battle-hardened captain of the Black Beast mercenaries. Spears were the best weapons. He ordered the goblins to bring him a pike. Sometimes skill can compensate for a difference in strength by concentrating it in one point and attacking the enemy's Achilles heel. Even if that enemy is a dragon, this dragon will surely die. However, this weapon couldn't even pierce the armor of the dragon. He clearly didn't expect that. How could a dragon have such strong scales? What kind of creature is this? Now he decided to use the chain pike's ranged attack. The dragon wondered how these toothpicks could even be called weapons. Later, he should use that same technique. A subordinate asked if the captain really intended to use it. That was his strongest move. Su Nian asked what it was. Smoke appeared in front of his face, causing his eyes to sting. As soon as his vision cleared, he saw that the captain had simply vanished without a trace. He's just a show-off. They agreed to fight one-on-one, but he ran away. Some were disappointed in the captain, while others begged him not to leave them. They couldn't survive without him. And then the main character decided to burn them with his dragon breath. Celestina asked the divine dragon if they should catch up with Gus, who had fled with his mercenaries. There was no need to catch up with them, as they would not be able to escape anyway. The sacred fortress of Felra. As he ran, he cursed the black dragon and the devilish capital of Celestina. He just needed to climb the eastern mountain again, and then everything would be fine. He heard questions about what would happen next. It was Alicia. Gus did not expect to see Alicia Alucaders here, who was supposed to be in the border fortress. How did she end up in Felra? The black dragon flew there, saying that it was clear that this was his territory, because they had captured Felra. And then he called this man a pathetic worm. Gus couldn't believe how this could have happened. The system reported that he had successfully destroyed the Black Beast mercenary squad. For this, he received 6,000 points. The capital of Celestina. They were very grateful to the divine dragon for his help. Su Nian told them to stand up. He had helped this country avert disaster, and as a reward, Celestina would become his vassal and swear allegiance to him. Celestina, on behalf of Celestina, voluntarily became his vassal from that day forward. The master fulfilled the request of the special S-rank character, Celestina. The State Council agreement came into effect. If she dies, all her power will be transferred to the master. If the master dies, the vassal will die as well. Current sympathy status: Fanatic. The summoning channel has been established. The system also awarded the master 3,000 points. Only 3,000 points, even though the difference between the characters is quite large. He hoped that this time there would be some special ability. And aren't there any additional conditions? The system asked if they trusted each other. The system congratulated the owner on obtaining an ability called Hot Dragon Power. Hot Dragon Power makes Dragon Power more ferocious. Not only can it make enemies tremble with fear, but it also increases damage when attacking. Hot Dragon Power provides enhancements for the special character Celestina. It can be downloaded now and requires no changes or pain tests. He decided to download it, and wanted to see what kind of quality this Hot Dragon Power had. A strong wind arose. The current number of points is 46,995. Su Nian apologized to them, saying that he couldn't help himself. Although there is no dark golden flame, there is actually no power, only a change in the dragon's ki. But it's beautiful. The system reported that while using the dragon, all skills are increased by 15%. Celestina asked if the divine dragon really flies. It's true. But first, he needs to do something. Celestina asked if she could help him with this task. The dragon wanted to know if there was a witch here. Perhaps a healer. Perhaps he meant the mysterious witch Huiye, who lived in the fortress. However, she never stays in one place. Besides, during all this war, they couldn't find out where she was. Perhaps it would be better for the divine dragon to stay here for a few days while they try to find and bring Huiye to him. It seems to be the only option, so he agreed. Then she will immediately order that a room be prepared for him. Celestina's bedroom. She thought the divine dragon was very brave. Suddenly, she heard a knock and asked who was there. It was Alicia. Celestina told her to come in. Alicia asked Her Majesty how she could sleep at such an hour. Celestina had already thought that perhaps something had happened. Could the mercenaries have attacked again? Alicia didn't mean that at all. She was talking about how Celestina's heart desired the divine dragon. Celestina replied that she should not speak nonsense. That was not the case. Perhaps her heart wasn't saying that. But surely she didn't want the divine dragon to leave. Of course she wanted the divine dragon to stay. In that case, Alicia whispered in her ear what she could do. However, Celestina refused. How could one seduce a deity? Did those words really mean that she truly wanted the divine dragon to leave? Either way, Alicia had only made a suggestion. Her Majesty must make her own choice. Sue Nanny's chambers. She just hoped that the divine dragon wouldn't get angry. But as soon as she thought about the divine dragon leaving, she was immediately overcome with sadness. She entered the divine dragon's chambers, saying she had something to discuss with him. Celestina hoped that the divine dragon understood her hints. If he did, he would call her by name. The main character asked the system what was going on. How long has this been going on, and can it be cured? It could be related to dragon chi. It greatly influences those who have made a contract with him and even leads to such situations. So there is no cure. Well, what about dragon breath? The system immediately shouted that there was a cure. After all, this is a special character. If he simply kills her, he will only gain 4th level magical abilities. For him, that's a drop in the ocean. All his parents can do is distance themselves from the person who made the contract with him. The dragon key will drop to a minimum, and the person who made the contract with him will return to normal. He called Celestina by name. The girl immediately replied that she wanted that. What does she even want there? Let her finally wake up. Celestina asked the divine dragon who this was. Sunyan replied that she was his companion. He then asked her what business she had there. Celestina had no idea that the divine dragon already had a companion. She had just embarrassed herself. In fact, she only wanted to discuss how to reorganize the army and make training more rigorous. This world would quickly fall into ruin. After all, he couldn't protect the country all the time. Dragons were very busy too. It would be better if she thought about the next steps herself. Since she had learned everything she wanted to know, she would leave. Now he breathed a sigh of relief after Celestina left. He also turned to Anna to explain everything to her. Anna asked if the Dragon Lord didn't like his companion. The capital of Santolista. Alicia informed the divine dragon that they had found the witch Huiye. In that case, the main character demanded that they bring the witch to him. 2 beasts entered, carrying the witch's palanquin. It's clear that this is a Western fantasy world, so why make everything so strange? She shouldn't be seen by people. Huiye hopes that the divine dragon will forgive her for this. Sunyan wondered if she wasn't coming out because she was afraid, or because she was up to something. The dragon asked if she could examine the sick person. The girl replied that she could. He handed Anna to her palanquin and asked her to find out what had happened to Anna. There are many people here, and it will be inconvenient for her to conduct an examination. Sunyan ordered them to leave. In that case, it was time to begin the examination. Anna asked the dragon not to look. She was afraid. The main character replied that she shouldn't be afraid, as he would always be with her. After all, Anna's increased resistance would only last a month, and since he couldn't find a solution, she would lose her health points in a month. At first glance, there was no danger. She noticed some cute cats. Haya used her talisman, which attached itself to the cat. Because of this, it grew in size. Anna didn't expect the cat to turn into a human. Suddenly the code almost swallowed Anna. Sunyan demanded that the little bastard spit out the Anu immediately. However, the cat only started running, and the dragon followed him. The main character tried to catch him, but he couldn't. So he asked what the hell she was doing. Sunyan warned that this moron should spit out the Anu. However, the witch asked the divine dragon not to worry, as it was just an examination. She had discovered that a powerful curse had been placed on the girl, but she was supposed to die earlier. That meant the dragon had been helping her all this time. Sunyan demanded that they release Anna immediately, because his patience also had limits. He broke the palanquin and saw the witch. Huiye began to panic as soon as she saw that the palanquin had been broken. Had she been exposed? And was this the human world? Sunyan asked the girl if she was okay. However, she was very scared. So the dragon put a helmet on her. Does she have a fear of 3D characters? An instant calm came over her as soon as the helmet was put on her. So he decided to test his hypothesis. She took out another talisman. That's why she turned into a Matryoshka doll. Could this be some kind of new mechanic? The dragon touched the Matryoshka and asked if Anna was inside. Another talisman flew out of the Matryoshka and moved straight toward the dragon's paws. Then Anna appeared in his hands. She said it was delicious. Sunyan asked what they were talking about. However, The girl did not answer. The main character asked what the witch had done to her. This girl is just sleeping. Huiye sent her a good dream, that's all. Doesn't this dragon want to know why she was cursed? This curse steals talent. The source of the curse is in her heart. Surely someone close to her put it there. Only by finding the person who put the curse on her can it be removed. Otherwise, her powers will fade away in an instant, and her life will come to an end. But in fact, there is one way. The main character immediately wanted to know what that way was. The simplest way is to replace the heart. Sunian asked if she really thought replacing a heart was as easy as buying cabbage at the market. The dragon's companion is infected with his dragon key. Therefore, a dragon heart would be the ideal option. Well, there's probably only one dragon in the whole area. She's just telling him that so he'll give her his passport. However, he could find the creature that put the curse on his wife. He clearly won't be able to find the person who put the curse on Anna. But if she can do it, the dragon will reward her well. She can try, but she can't guarantee that she'll be able to find this person. She ordered the paperman to find the person who put the curse on the girl. The silhouette of some kind of demon even began to appear there. But at that moment, a seal appeared before her. Because of this seal, her Matryoshka doll was broken. Sunian asked what she had seen there. The witch replied that she had failed. He was too powerful. Even if she knew who the person who had cast the curse was, there was no way to find him now. The main character asked the system if there was any modification to grow more hearts. The system could make him have as many hearts as he wanted. A mechanical heart, a devil's heart, and if he had enough system points and strength, he could even have a divine heart. A dragon can only have one heart. As the owner noticed, this system only modifies the most basic things in the owner's body. It is impossible to create something from nothing, based only on the organs and powers he already has. But mutation is possible. Sunian asked what a lava heart was. A lava heart is not a real heart. The heart controls the host's blood circulation. A lava heart only has energy and a core, so if he gives his heart to Anna, he will die. In theory, that's how it works. He asked to be told directly how to prevent himself from dying after giving his heart to Anna. Stop telling him nonsense. He has neither money nor points. This is a golden apple, an item hidden in a store. Although it can imitate an organ, it needs a similar environment and special care to grow. When the apple grows to the size of a heart, it will need to replace the heart. This apple is worth 100,000. This system has clearly gone too far. She just makes up the price out of her head. However, the system claimed that she was an honest trader. It's not honest at all. It would be better to just call itself a speculative system and be done with it. He heard Anna. Anna said she always wanted to be with Mr. Dragon. If it were possible to extend control over the curse, then after replacing her heart with the apple of Adam, Anna would have a chance of salvation. Since they couldn't find the one who cast the curse, maybe she had a way to help prolong control over it. Ancient books described one method, but it required them to trust each other unconditionally. Of course, the main character had only dirty thoughts about it. He immediately wanted to know what to do. Huiye asked if he was really willing to trust her completely. Sunian wondered if complete trust was not easy. This was a task worthy of a divine dragon. If that was the case, she could bind the dragon to his companion right now. The main character asked if she would also be with them. She was just an outside observer responsible for activating the field and the bonds. Once the bonds were activated, the weaker side would begin to draw on the life force to preserve their own life. If one side died, the survivor would gain all the power. She asked the divine dragon if he was ready. It sounds like tying up a phone. In any case, he is ready. Ancient books say that before the ritual, the body must be completely bound with rope, so that there are no mistakes. The dragon wondered whether it was worth trusting ancient books at all. After that, she made the field open. There are very few people in the world who can do such a thing. All the secrets of the past will be completely revealed to the other side. Even she is not capable of such a thing. The girl sincerely admires the divine dragon. The main character asked what the difference was between complete trust and viewing his entire history in a browser. He asked her to stop the ritual. Although the divine dragon was in such pain, he did not allow her to stop. Such self-sacrifice is truly admirable. Near the greedy forest, there was little Anna. The little girl immediately snuggled up to her beloved sister, whose name was Luna. She missed her very much. In fact, inside Luna was the main character. Anna hoped that Luna had brought her some sweets. How sweet! It turns out she was such a cutie when she was little. And she has chubby cheeks. The witch said that the most secret secrets would be revealed. So this is Anna's secret kingdom of dreams. He even wanted to know what she felt like to the touch. Anna asked her sister why she was smiling so strangely, because there really was something strange. She was very afraid because the awakening ceremony was coming soon. The girl didn't know what to do if she couldn't awaken as a higher elf. Luna asked what a higher elf was. A red-haired girl ran up to them and said that sister had been looking for Anna for a long time. Why did she run away from the forest? It was very dangerous here, and there were many monsters. Everyone had already gathered for the awakening, and were just waiting for Anna. This girl's name was Zaya. She tried to calm Anna down because she was sure that she would definitely awaken from the lower elf to the higher elf. The price has changed in the realm of dreams. This means that everything is changing because of Anna. Today, she is trying to pass her exam for the 10th time. If she fails again, she will not be able to continue her studies at secondary school or physics school. Moreover, she and all her kin will be banished from the heart of the Jade Forest. Anna understood everything. She will try even harder to awaken. However, it's a failure. She's trying to awaken for the 10th time, and nothing is working. She's already used up so much of the fleeting breath left to her by King Svil. She's a disgrace to the entire elven race. Luna grabbed the old bastard by the beard, asking him how he dared to talk to her sister like that. It was announced that Anna Hathaway and her kin were banished from the heart of the Jade Forest. They were only allowed to live on its outskirts. Luna tried to calm Anna down, saying that they would drive this bunch of backward idiots away. Anna gathered fruit, thinking that Luna must be hungry by now. She heard words about how she had wasted too many of their resources. Didn't Anna think she should compensate them? Weren't they all lower-class elves? Why were they allowed 10 attempts to awaken, but only 3 for them? If they had been given 10 attempts, they would have been able to awaken long ago. It was all her fault. Anna had stolen all their resources, so she had to pay for it. The moon appeared, wanting to bend them. If they dare to offend her again, she will beat them all. It seems that the house she built is quite nice. And again, the scene changed. Why is she hiding in the closet? Is she being hurt again? Those jerks probably need a beating again. Suddenly the moon's body was pierced. It was all the work of the witch Hui. He began to come to his senses a little. Anna begged the Dragon Lord to wake up and not die. However, a silhouette appeared behind her and said that the divine dragon would not wake up. Anna asked who it was. It was a witch named Hui Ye. She said that the divine dragon had saved her and fallen into a deep sleep. She didn't understand why the divine dragon had done this. There was no need to do that because Anna Togo wasn't worth it. It was called pretending to be asleep very well. Anna asked if there was any way to wake the dragon. It wouldn't hurt to try talking to him. She had to talk to the divine dragon. Anna told him that she had had a strange dream. In her dream, there was a glowing iron plate with pictures of girls in swimsuits on it. A man was talking about a 32-gigabyte archive and saying that he liked the browser's history. He immediately jumped up and told Anna not to say anything else. Anna was glad that Mr. Dragon had finally woken up. It turns out that conversation is very effective. The main character fantasized about girls in swimsuits who were calling him to have fun with them. Anna's voice pulled him out of his thoughts. She asked Mr. Dragon what he had just said. The main character replied that he had simply remembered his lost youth. The capital city of Santo Lista. The temple. This is the statue they erected for the divine dragon. Every day she gazed at this imposing figure in search of the dragon and his blessing. Before creating the statue, they could have at least changed his pose. Celestina suggested that the divine dragon stay here a little longer. However, the main character replied that since everything was peaceful here, they should return. In reality, she will miss the divine dragon in the dragon's lair. After all, while he was away, the monsters had settled in nicely. Hippocles was very happy when he saw that his master had finally returned. However, he was stopped by Sunian, who said that they had something to discuss. They were tired for the day. Anna asked the Dragon Lord what was wrong. Was he in pain? Sunian replied that everything was fine. He was just a little tired. And why did he have a fever and feel dizzy? He asked the system if dragons also got sick. The system replied that his condition had changed due to the knots, heart failure, deterioration of dragon blood, weakness for 72 hours, accommodation to changes in heart condition, spasms, the curse of the stolen heart, all characteristics reduced by 50%, curse of the deceitful poison, festering of the entire body, curse of the broken spirit, rupture of the soul, the curse of the stolen heart, deceitful poison, and broken spirit, imposed simultaneously, can deprive the cursed of their soul and consume their spiritual powers. Such a deterioration is difficult to even imagine. Anna was so upset. The dragon asked Anna what she was doing. The girl asked him not to move because she wanted to take his temperature. Mr. Dragon is burning. Sunian replied that humans and dragons have different temperatures. Of course, she knew that. Mr. Dragon needed to wait a little longer. Anna made this potion. If the divine dragon felt unwell, she should try it. It helps very well. Celestina asked why Anna needed all these bugs. It was all going into the broth she was making for the Dragon Lord. The village of newcomers, cherry number 2. What beautiful heads! The man wondered where to put them. Another young man entered and explained that the player George wanted to meet him. Couldn't he see that a man was enjoying art here? No meetings? He would definitely like this news. That player said he knew where the dragon was. As soon as he heard about the dragon, it became interesting. So he asked someone to call him over. She told Mr. Dragon to get up because it was time to take his medicine. He used to fight his illness alone, but now he finally has someone who cares about him. Anna is very kind, but as soon as he saw the medicine, he thought it might be too late to pretend to be dead. Anna wanted Mr. Dragon to eat everything. She had spent a long time preparing the medicine. Selena also thought he shouldn't refuse the potion. She had cooked it all night long. She really did cook it for a long time, because the dragon could smell that it was burning. In any case, he decided to drink it. If he was going to die, he would die. It seemed like the taste of death. The main character even thought that Anna had given it to him to get revenge. The Dragon Lord need not rush. She had cooked a whole pot of it. Now he'll definitely die. The village of newcomers, cherry number 2. When he meets the Lord, he understands why they say his bravery is unmatched. Suddenly something hit his knee, causing him to fall to one knee. Most of all, he hates looking at the faces of weaklings. The Lord had heard that in Cherry Village number 1, he had been beaten up by low-level monsters. But in reality, that wasn't the case. These monsters had been influenced by a black dragon. They had become 10 times more powerful, like demons. He asked permission to join the Señor, because the man wanted to take him to the dragon's lair. This guy probably doesn't know yet. He himself said that in this world, this dragon was declared the main boss. So what's the point of this guy joining them? The dragon has a low-ranking elf. She is beautiful and has a face like a fairy. This elf will definitely appeal to the Lord. He even had a photo of the elf with him. Snow-white hair and fluffy ears. What a beautiful work of art. He would definitely put her on his right hand and the dragon's head on his left. The man even began to fantasize about it. Let the show begin. It doesn't matter who wins this battle. He'll get his chance anyway. Because Selena had touched her, Anne had a strange dream. How big and soft they were. She clearly wanted them. Selena was having another erotic dream. Anna spent the whole evening cooking medicine and must be exhausted. She needs to get some sleep. Selena touched the dragon's paw and realized she didn't need it. It was definitely ruined, and this girl had better get some sleep. Although yesterday's potion tasted disgusting, he felt much better after taking it. Hippocleus came to him. He wanted to know from his master how he was going to punish the prisoners who were locked up behind the mountain. He had even forgotten about these prisoners. Sunian asked if the dog had counted how many there were. There were 213 prisoners in total. He did not even expect there to be so many prisoners. The dragon had hoped that they had at least eaten something during all the days he had been away. Hippocleus replied that they had not even thought about it. They had very little food, so when they wanted to eat, they looked for grass, leaves, and the like. While their master was away, they couldn't even imagine that after they surrendered, they would be starved to death. The dragon ordered them to be brought here because he wanted to take a look at them. They used the buildings in village number 1 as a model and built a prison themselves. They take turns standing guard every day, and there is a guard every 10 meters. To prevent riots, they locked all the disobedient ones in a black room. It's all been done quite well. It turns out that Hippoclea already had plans for a prison. How hungry they must have been. The ground looks like it's been plowed by a combine harvester, not a blade of grass in sight. They should be made to sow. This would improve the monster's standard of living and guarantee work for the prisoners, so that they would never even think of rebelling. How did he not think of this before? He is truly a dragon. Only he could think of everything. Hippoclea asked the owner what to sow. He found potatoes. They have good survival and yield rates. Potatoes would be an easy place to start. The system reported that the master had purchased potato seeds, spending 500 points. Meanwhile, Captain Zhu Shan was busy eating meat. They ate all the food they had for the month. Another man asked him to come over. He had thought that by following the toughest member of the squad from the village of newcomers, they would have no trouble. Who knew that what a normal person eats in a month, that captain could eat in just a week? They even wanted to quietly escape from him. Sooner or later the captain would eat them too. Jushan approached them and asked what they were talking about. The guys replied that it was nothing. An invitation to the second village of newcomers had just arrived, so they were wondering if the captain wanted to go there. The seigneur had invited them and made them wait until this hour. Were there really people in this place who were more important than they were? What a joke. In this world, guests who didn't arrive on time shouldn't be so arrogant. Jushem wondered if they were talking about him. When this man appeared behind him, he and the others sitting at the table didn't even notice. Valdoli explained that this was David Jushan, the shadow assassin. This man had earned his fame. The seigneur explained that he was the lord of these lands. He had long heard of this man's strength. The seigneur apologized for not being able to meet him. The player was frightened by Togo's enormous size. He weighed at least 200 kilograms, and he was an assassin. Valdoli immediately kicked him and apologized. He should have trained these guard dogs better, and this guard dog is very special. The senior replied that if Zhu Shanyu liked this man, he could easily give him away. Another man arrived, one who had not seen these old friends in a long time. Since everyone had arrived, he decided not to beat around the bush. Valdoli invited all the slaves of the brave players to kill the Black Dragon boss. This news immediately distracted them. Everyone knew about the Black Dragon, as he was a boss who had recently appeared in this world. He had defected to him instead of becoming a babysitter. Therefore, they should not blame him for his choice. He knows one way to safely and effectively capture the Black Dragon. There is a low-ranking elf in the dragon's favor. If they capture her, the dragon will definitely surrender without any resistance. And then the Lord will be able to get 2 beautiful skulls. These idiots don't even realize that if they capture the elf, the dragon will definitely get angry. They will get their baptism of fire from the enraged dragon. At that moment, Anna sneezed. Sun Yan asked Anna how she was feeling. Was it because she had been cooking the medicine for so long? She'd better not cook anymore, or he would worry. They definitely couldn't cook any more medicine. Even if she had a life-saving potion, he wouldn't drink it. Actually, everything was fine. She just felt some kind of cold, evil intent. Sun Yan wondered why he hadn't felt anything. He didn't even think that there were outsiders who could break through the aura's whispers. And when Anna said she felt cold, maybe she was hinting that she needed a hug. There was one more thing she kept forgetting to give to the Dragon Lord. The main character asked what it was. He had to guess for himself. It was the very thing he had wanted for so long. She was holding a golden key in her hands. In fact, he was disappointed as soon as he saw it. Today, Anna took the key that can open the silver chests from the witch Melinda. And she also took this from Daniel's hands. Sun Yan couldn't believe there was so much. How did she do it all? Actually, it was very simple. Selena crossed his arms and legs and then broke everything. Melinda replied that it was all his fault. If he hadn't spread those false rumors, she would still be the elder, and the village of newcomers would still be number 6. Daniel replied that she was a nobody, and now she was blaming him for everything. This can't go on. If she can't kill herself, then we need to find a way to escape. Melinda asked Daniel how many aggression points he had. Daniel replied that he only had 500. He had been forced to spend the rest on buying the key. Even if they beat him to death, he wouldn't give it up. This idiot didn't even understand that he would die anyway, regardless of whether he gave up the key or not. What difference did it make, since they could all be resurrected anyway? He'd better give it to her. He didn't want to deceive Melinda. Daniel replied that it was all nonsense. Her limbs hadn't been torn off after all. She had a way. Daniel should give her his aggression points, and then she would escape and rescue him from there. So that's where the dragon's lair is. He ordered George to go and bring him the elf girl. However, George didn't want to do it himself. Since he had joined them, he had to demonstrate his abilities. Moreover, it was his idea to kidnap the neck. This good guy has nothing to fear. Zhu Shanyu's abilities will allow him to hide in the shadows at night. No one will see him. Those dogs really couldn't see him. Suddenly they smelled a terrible stench. Clearly someone had farted. As soon as he moved on, he saw the very elf he was supposed to capture. The system reported that the deal was complete. Daniel gave her all his aggression points, so she mustn't forget to come back for them. What an idiot he is. Of course, Melinda won't come back, but she'll put him out of his misery. His last word was witch. Suddenly he heard something. What an idiot this guy is. He saw Anna falling in front of him. She had accidentally twisted her ankle and thanked him for catching her. In fact, he considered it an honor. The wolf asked Anna what she was doing there. She had dropped something there earlier that day. She also wanted to check if they were standing guard properly. He always stood guard conscientiously. She didn't really believe him, because there was no one there. He decided to run there quickly. How fortunate that he had been able to purchase the transformation potion. Now everyone saw her as Anna. Only then would she have a chance to escape. Who knows? Perhaps she would be able to approach the dragon and kill it with her own hands. George thought it was strange because he didn't understand where the elf had gone. Why did he blink, and she disappeared? They bumped into each other, causing Anna to fall, not understanding who was behind her. Where did this wall come from? How fortunate that he didn't have to try hard to find her. This night is damn good. The wolf reported that they had seen Anna heading toward the Silver Forest. They also heard demons. That couldn't be because it was clear that Anna was here. But as soon as he looked, he realized that Anna wasn't there. Why didn't the Aura's whisper find anything? He flew off in search of Anna. The others also saw the black dragon. People even thought he had found them. Jushan calmed them down because with his skills, the black dragon couldn't see them. He must be looking for the elf. It seems that George succeeded. This boy is really useful. But the situation was far from rosy. He didn't look anything like the image from the system. The dragon seemed stronger, and he was already at the 4th level. Although they hadn't encountered such a powerful beast before, all the others had perished at the blade of this bloodthirsty creature. All it would take is for one of them to be lured into the center of the printing press, and there would be no difference between a 5th-level metal dragon and a lamb under a spell. Plus, he had a secret weapon. The main character descended to the ground and was still calling for Anna. What the hell is this? Is it invisible armor? Waldoli attacked the dragon, wanting to kill it with a single blow, but even then he couldn't do anything. After that, he struck the falling dragon again. Waldoli thought he had managed to kill his opponent with a single blow. Even a dragon was no obstacle for him. However, Asunyan appeared before him and asked what he had done. This simply could not be. The dragon had not fallen. And where had his bloodthirsty opponent gone? Sunyan threw away the broken knife. He also noticed that this man was not a member of the military unit. His legs had simply given way, and he had stumbled carelessly. That was all. Waldoli asked how this was even possible. The lightning throw ability was activated. During a lightning throw attack, the target takes 1 point of damage. During a Mad Dragon's thunder attack, the target loses when wounded. The target receives 0 uranium points. The blade's durability has reached 0. It is broken. He even found it a little funny that this pathetic worm dared to invade his lands. Let him just prepare to die. Suddenly something flew into his eye. The main character was surprised himself when he saw that it was a bullet. Where did a gun come from here? This dragon has such thick scales. The bullet only scratched him. But where did he go? Sunyan was already behind the man and asked if he was the one he was looking for. The man immediately started moving and began shooting. Sunyan used his tomb to take away the weapon. The man had no idea why his gun was no longer working. Then the main character bit him. However, he heard a voice that stopped him. It was Waldoli, who was holding Anna hostage. Could it be that the dragon wanted her to die? Therefore, the main character had to let him go. Sunyan replied that he'd better let Anna go too, otherwise his death would be terrible. He was also afraid. Let the dragon save her if he dared. Anna began to fall, screaming for help, because she was afraid of heights. Fortunately, Sunyan managed to catch her. But then a magical seal appeared. There was a field that prevented him from leaving. They wanted to stop him with a simple seal. At that moment, Jushan wanted to taste his head, but the man realized that they might have been tricked. This dragon doesn't look like a 4th-level monster. Its tail was able to break the magic seal, which is meant to bind 6th-level monsters. And his scales were very thick. The seal would not hold him for long. In that case, everyone must attack. The mages used a fire explosion, an ice storm, and a lightning attack. Unfortunately, the dragon's tongue doesn't work on them. Anna is here, so dragon breath can't be used either. This seal won't hold the players. We need to run faster. As soon as she started thinking about how they should escape, something suddenly pierced her. He immediately shouted her name as soon as he saw what had happened to her. Anna fell to the ground. Waldoli called them blind idiots. The girl asked, but hadn't he himself told them to attack with full force? But he had said to attack the dragon. Sunyan went berserk and promised to tear them to pieces. This is bad, because the dragon is angry. We need to get out of here. The main character won't give them a chance to escape. Jushan used an instant sphere, Shadow Kill Seal. It seemed like he didn't even react to the man's attacks. However, with this ability, he was able to escape, and although he felt a little sorry, At least he was able to hold the dragon back for a while. Sun Yan ordered the system to release the lava heart. The system congratulated its master on destroying all the invading players in a minute. With the task completed, he received 15,000 points as a reward. Dragon's Cave. Ipokli informed his master that Anna had returned home. He knew it himself. Perhaps Anna's spirit had already returned to the Jade Forest. Ipoklius thought he was saying some kind of flowery phrase. However, Anna appeared there, safe and sound, eating honey. It was quite sweet. She happily told the Dragon Lord that she had found marsh honey. Now his medicine would no longer taste bitter. The dragon had already thought he was hallucinating. It seemed that memories were also part of hallucinations, and this hallucination felt pretty good. Hippoclei reported to his master that 2 captive players were missing. However, this bottle of potion had appeared. It was a conversion potion, so that girl had turned into a bath, but he was overjoyed when he realized that his beloved Anna was not dead. She had only left for a short while, and already the dragon was telling everyone that she had died. Now he truly understood that she had returned. Sun Yan asked her to listen to him. The capital of the kingdom of Andreus. The royal palace. A subordinate reported to His Majesty that the ambassador of the kingdom of Iron had arrived. It seems he has come to return Master Maysont. The king was angry that they had the audacity to send people. This Maysont is nothing but a nobody. He wasted so many people and resources, but didn't even bring back a single dragon hair. And now, no one even shows up. He must have run away long ago. He ordered that the man from Iron be told that Maysont was buried in the dragon's mouth. Queen Andreus entered, who also wanted to say something. He asked the queen why she had returned. The queen had heard that a great event had taken place here in Andreus, so she ended her visit to her family and friends and headed back. She had also heard that His Majesty had sent men to Iron to kill the dragon in order to cure the prince. The king asked the queen to listen to him. And what an interesting explanation he has here. He simply took advantage of the queen's absence and caused a huge mess. People are dying in their domain, and this idiot is doing everything he can to start a war between the 2 kingdoms. He just wanted to cure the prince as soon as possible. The queen ordered the ambassador to be summoned. The ambassador arrived and greeted His Royal Highness and Her Royal Highness. The queen is as beautiful as they say. Rumors had long been circulating that King Andreus was a complete non-entity, which is why General Cassirn sent Maysont. Who would have thought he had such a beautiful queen? She thanked the man for his praise. He apologized for his bluntness, but the man had heard that the army that had been sent had been defeated by a dragon, and no one had survived. Therefore, the man wanted to know if His Majesty was willing to give up his people or pay compensation. The king wanted to say something, but the queen interrupted him. The army had indeed been defeated. But Master Maysont was definitely not dead, and the soldiers who returned said that they had not seen Maysont before entering the Silver Forest. Could Her Majesty mean that Maysont deserted? He's quick to pick up on things. The queen asked for understanding of the law, but they wanted to resolve this issue peacefully from the start. They have sent people to investigate. It would be best for the ambassador to stay here for a few days. If Master Maysont really died in battle with the dragon, they would be happy to agree on compensation. In that case, he hopes they will hurry. He cannot stay here long. Dragon's Cave. Anna hasn't paid any attention to him for 2 days. He wanted to ask the system if there was a village of newbies nearby. He would destroy them all so that they wouldn't come here one by one and disturb the peace. The system advised him not to launch large-scale attacks on player villages. Otherwise, his status as world boss would become permanent. The main character asked what eternal status meant. If the owner is marked as an eternal boss, teleports will automatically appear near him. Players will be able to teleport through them to the Silver Forest. But he had destroyed the newbie village, precisely to prevent it from becoming even more dangerous. Now there was another question. How could he earn points if he couldn't attack the newbie village? Beginner's Town number 1. Heavenly Dynasty. The boss has been updated. Could this dragon have been killed, or has a stronger monster appeared? Apparently, the battle with the dragon would have to be postponed. He just hoped that this dragon would survive, because it was a worthy opponent. Dragon's Cave. Analysis of the owner's publicity is complete. Since the reasons for the decrease in publicity are unknown, he must investigate the specific reasons himself. The decrease in publicity may be related to the appearance of a legendary hero or monster. He's been with this system for so long. Could there really be something she can't tell him directly? She's been so secretive lately. He can't go on like this. This system can only assess the decrease in the owner's publicity. The system cannot investigate the specific reasons that occurred in this world. After all, the system is not an artificial satellite. Now that his publicity has declined, he can continue flying around the villages of newcomers. But the most important thing is to earn money. He ordered Hippocleus to gather soldiers to prepare for the campaign. Hippocleus asked his master where they were going. The dragon replied that they were heading north to the Mulligan Desert. They would attack the village of Novice Number 2, Cherry. He also asked the system if there was anything that could help him and his subordinates strengthen their modifications. He simply wanted to know if, when he himself evolved, the same would happen to his subordinates. The part of the modification that corresponds to the master's needs. This modification is located on page 14,879, paragraph 67 of the Nervous Modifications. The modification article is called Will of the Swarm. The initial level of the Will of the Swarm is worth 100,000 points. When the host adds the modification, 1,000 living organisms below his level will develop along with him. He also wondered if it would be okay to put this thing in the body of a huge dragon. Lately, the system has been charging very high markups. This system does not deceive anyone. The system refuses to negotiate prices. The palace of Queen Andreus. She greeted Her Majesty the Queen. The Queen immediately noticed Celista's arrival. She ordered the maids to leave. No one was allowed to enter without her permission. Celestina brought the bracelet of her missing sister. Could Her Majesty really help find her? Of course, she could do it, but only for a reward. Celestina was ready to give the Queen 10 years of her youth just to help find her sister. The Queen took the bracelet and held it up to the mirror. Then a hand appeared and took the bracelet. The reflection of a dragon appeared in the mirror. The current number of points is 61,995. The Mulligan Plain. Hippocleus asked the master if he is not hot. Perhaps they should rest a little. The dragon replied that no, he was not. Who is he trying to fool? He himself is like a huge furnace. Suddenly, he remembered that the girls were on his back. The two of them had gotten a mild sunstroke. Celestina asked for water. Anna was roasting in the sun. He filled himself with water near the riverbank. Then the dragon poured the water over them. It felt really nice. Anna was so wet that it was even hard for her to move. He wanted to help Anna. Suddenly they heard a cry for those bastards to let her go. 2 level 25 Hindu players were hovering over the girl. She could scream as much as she wanted, because no one would save her anyway. But the map didn't show any beginner villages nearby. Could it be a system error? This system has no errors. Once the owner encounters such a situation, the system immediately begins to explain. Camps of players from different worlds have different abilities. For example, camps of Hindu players have the ability to hide the location of their newbie village. At the moment, the host is aware of the ability of the Cherry camps. A warrior spirit that increases the military power of the team and instills a spirit of fearlessness in the players. The beauty camp possesses scientific and technical analysis skills that help them create technology. Although the master must have already noticed that they have created a gun, he didn't even know that the camps had their own abilities. No wonder the map didn't show it. The dragon wondered what abilities the camps in other newbie villages had. Since the owner had not yet made contact with other player camps, this information was temporarily unavailable to the system. They began to tear her clothes. However, she had a completely different attitude. These bastards were clearly going to die. She had a sword in her hands. Behind them was already a dragon. The main character managed to throw them away. He caught the girl in his arms. Finally, she was able to find him. It didn't even take her much time. One player asked who it was. The second replied that it was the one who dared to push him into the water. Suddenly, the same dragon that had pushed them both into the water appeared before them. Then he decided to add a little more water. Everyone says that dragons are perverts by nature. All you have to do is get close to one, and it will be easy to seduce it. She was very grateful that the divine dragon had deigned to save her. The girl's name was Aya, and she wanted to devote her entire life to him. She already thought that he clearly couldn't withstand such pressure. The divine dragon was already ready to surrender to her beauty. But then she noticed that the dragon had already flown away. Sun Yan simply did a good deed and did not leave a visit. If she wants to know his full name, she can simply call him Lei Feng. It didn't matter where the dragon had fled, because she would find him anyway. And she would kill him with her own hands. The Mulligan Desert. There was only desert ahead. They say it's very dangerous there. Ferocious monsters often hide there. Hippocleus must remember the motto of their army. If they explode in the midst of their enemies, then let them die there. It was a profound motto. The lair of the brass dragon. The main character urgently summoned Hippocleus. Soglavek ran to his master and asked what the order was. Let the troops rest. Celestina asked the dragon why they had stopped so suddenly. What an annoying smell of hot metal. It's like the smell of brass and copper dragons. He had a bad feeling about it. The main character asked if they could bypass this trail. Hippocles replied that the easiest way would be to take the only trail leading north to the Mulligan Desert. He decided to fly ahead to scout the area. Anna and Apocleus would stay behind to rest. He would return soon. Anna asked the dragon to be careful. The smell was getting stronger and stronger. He must be quite close. The lair of the brass dragon. That's what you'd expect from a brass dragon. Dragons are very territorial creatures. They won't let you pass just like that. As it turned out, Celestina was behind him, already thinking that they had arrived. Sun Yan asked the girl why she was there at all. She had carelessly sprawled out on his back and fallen asleep. But why were they still in the desert? And behind them was a brass dragon. Celestina asked why there was another dragon here. Could it be related to the main character? He was the owner of the Mulligan Desert. His name was Rolls-Royce August Tourmalin. He asked this unknown dragon why he had invaded his territory. Sun Yan and his subordinates wanted to pass through this place. They did not want to insult his right to ownership. If the brass dragon allowed it, he was willing to pay a couple of gold coins for disturbing the peace. Of course, he could do that. Rolls wanted 100,000 gold coins, and he wanted to leave this man here to chat with him, and another 100,000. He even asked the system if the brass dragon could be reborn, and whether it was worth spending that much money at all. If this man couldn't talk to him for 3 days, he wanted him replaced with a new one. Sun Yan even turned to Celestina. The girl asked what he was up to now. Of course, she refused. Celestina wasn't going to stay here. Sun Yan could give him coins, but he couldn't leave the man there. For the honor of all dragons, he must let his people go. Rolls called him a vile, depraved dragon. He even dared to compare himself to metal dragons. He would not tolerate this humiliation. In that case, they would never come to an agreement. Laughter erupted as the pathetic 4th-level dragon dared to challenge him. Celestina shouted for him to be careful. Sun Yan managed to fly away from the blow in time. Rolls wondered why he had disappeared. He had been attacked by the main character, and also mentioned that this dragon was too slow. Celestina wanted to help the dragon. To do so, she used a binding spell. Sun Yan asked if she could at least aim properly once. Celestina apologized. She wouldn't do it again. These annoying bugs are just begging to die under the paws of the Desert Lord. The sandstorm was enormous. He couldn't open his eyes at all. The sandstorm even started to lift her clothes. He noticed a flying rock, so he covered Celestina with his body. He couldn't see anything because of the damn sand. And the brass dragon had already left the range of the dragon tongue's magic. The main character asked the system if there was a modification that allowed him to see through the sand. The owner could buy an all-seeing eye. It maximized the field of vision and allowed one to see through small objects. It only cost 70,000 points, but he didn't have that much money. The system replied that the owner could freeze for 3 minutes, and then the modification would cost only 10% of the total price. 7,000 points were deducted. Once the freeze was complete, the modification would be finished. The report began. It would only take 3 minutes, and he would finish off this unfortunate dragon in an instant. How quickly everything had quieted down. The brass dragon thought he would be tougher, but he couldn't even avoid this storm. Suddenly, a lot of stones started flying at him. Sun Yan asked his beloved relative if he was hungry. Food delivery. He must eat until he is full. And now he was trying to remember what his name was. Rolls-Royce Phantom Tourmaline. The brass dragon replied that this despicable dragon was not worthy of being called a dragon. He had attacked him from behind. And now he was insulting his name. And now he was really angry. Sun Yan tried to understand what he was doing now. Perhaps he was stomping his feet in anger for a reason. Only then did he realize that it was quicksand. Dragon wings couldn't withstand such force. Even Celestina realized that they were now trapped. The girl woke up in the underground cave. She screamed loudly as soon as she saw the ghost in front of her. An underground tunnel made of snake bones. He hadn't even expected to find anything under the quicksand. And it looked like some kind of snake bones. It was very dark here. Celestina hoped that the dragon had at least survived. She tried to call out to him. Someone touched her, and she thought it was the dragon. But then she turned around and realized it wasn't who she thought it was. With the help of her scepter, she was able to light up the area, and saw that there were many corpses here. She stumbled and fell. Sun Yan wondered what those sounds were. Probably his stomach. He also thought about Celestina. The system hadn't said anything about her death, so she must be alive. The system had mentioned that it didn't work that way. It was very far to the surface from here. So he asked the system if he could use his dragon breath to break through the layer of sand and get out. The system demanded that he abandon this idea immediately. It was a huge desert. The structure was extremely unstable. Such an action would only hasten the death of its owner. In that case, it was time to just keep going. Who knows, maybe he would find a way out. Analysis showed that there was an unknown force ahead. Sun Yan asked if it was dangerous. The system replied that it might be dangerous, or it might not be. Nothing was clear. Lately, the system has been saying a lot of strange things. He saw a snake skull in front of him, and there was a girl in the stone. It said that this was Celestina. Could this be the unknown force the system was talking about? However, the system did not respond. Could it be that the signal was not being received? Meanwhile, Celestina noticed ancient magical writings. It was the legendary Codex of the Dead that all magicians were searching for. What luck! As a sorceress, she would finally have the chance to read the Codex of the Dead. Perhaps all these skeletons were magicians who died fighting for the Codex. It was written in blood. Perhaps it was a dying man's will. It said something about a dangerous evil spirit that had been sealed away. Under no circumstances should you read it aloud. Celestina. That's not a bad name. Under no circumstances should you look her in the eyes. Sun Yan noticed that she had opened her eyes. There was something strange written here. Suddenly, sand got into her eyes. It was unpleasant, and then they felt as if the cave was beginning to collapse. Sun Yan and Celestina didn't understand what was happening. After that, Celestina fell onto his head. At first, the girl thought it was too hot. Then she saw that she was on a dragon. Celestina was happy that they had finally met. How wonderful that he hadn't died. She liked him even more now. He asked her how she had fallen from above. Celestina told him that after they had been sucked into the quicksand, she found herself at the top of the cave. There were many corpses of wizards there, as well as an ancient codex of the dead, imbued with black magic. He was immediately interested, thinking that it might contain information on how they could escape. However, this information was not there. One wizard wrote before his death that an evil spirit was sealed there. Sun Yan pointed to the girl and asked if she was the one being referred to. No wonder she was sealed in the crystal. Now Celestina was convinced that the mage had written the truth. The floor above was littered with the corpses of mages. It was very possible that they had tried to seal her away. Still, she breathed a sigh of relief because everything was fine. All they had to do was not read her name aloud. Don't touch her or look her in the eyes. Then nothing would happen. Sun Yan asked uncertainly what would happen if they did. Celestina really hoped she hadn't done that. The crystal began to crumble. The two of them hugged each other and screamed in panic. What a destructive force. She even managed to break through the scales. She was enveloped in dark magic. Finally, she was free. Chelsea turned around to see who was there. At the same time, the dragon and the seams were hiding behind a huge crystal. The system detected a special female character. It asked the host to determine a strategy. If the system knows anything, it's better to ask it now. How did he ever know what to do in a situation like this? The system asked the master to believe in himself, because he would succeed. It was time for her to go, because she had work to do. Chelsea immediately flew to them as soon as she found them. The two realized that they needed to run away immediately. The tax collector of the bronze dragon. He didn't even have anywhere to put that tail. So he's saying that the black dragon has an army of monsters. And it stopped nearby, in his domain. That's ridiculous. The black dragon is dead. Surely these low-level monsters don't know that yet. Suddenly he felt an earthquake. A huge skeleton appeared. A desert. An army of monsters. Anna saw where the Dragon Lord had flown. For some reason, Anna felt uneasy. She hoped nothing had happened to Mr. Dragon. Desert. Before his eyes was a window in Chelsea's state. SS class. Low energy. Sympathy level -10. Age, race, and abilities unknown. Chelsea asked why he ran away. She wasn't going to eat him. She had such enormous strength, even though her status said she was low on energy. She easily managed to get to the surface. After all, it's quite comfortable to sit on a dragon, and his scales were beautiful. This girl seems to have her eyes on his body. However, Sun Yan will definitely not obey. It's all because of those damn moths that wanted to kill her snake. Chelsea suggested that he become her new pet. A pet snake, so that was a snake skeleton in that cave. He even began to imagine her as Chelsea ordered the little dragon to sit. After that, the main character firmly refused. Who would want to be her pet? He was a dragon, after all. She was unhappy that he didn't listen to her. Good pets shouldn't do that. Her sympathy dropped another 10 points. The main character asked the system what was going on. Could his likability really go down? The system replied that this time, the goal was quite dangerous. Before likability rises to the first level, it is very unstable. This is really dangerous. The brass dragon's lair. What the hell is going on? That damn dragon survived after all. He even found help to destroy the lair he built. Sunyan didn't understand how this girl was helping him. How this genius came up with such an idea. If that's what he wants to think, then the main character is powerless. She's his captain. Since this bronze dragon is so capable, let him look for her. However, he told the dragon that he wouldn't be able to defeat her. They even dared to misbehave right in front of him. In that case, he would show them why he was called the Dragon Lord. Sun Yan advised him not to lose his temper under any circumstances. However, young people never listen to the advice of their elders. Chelsea asked if another dragon wanted to be her pet. The brass dragon attacked her with its breath. Sun Yan and Selena thought it was pretty cool. They wished the dragon good luck. That idiot is definitely looking for death. She said that pets have to obey, especially ugly ones. The brass dragon couldn't even move its body. Sun Yan asked the system if there was any way to calm it down. The owner could use a contract field, but to do so, they would have to sacrifice a part of their body as a vessel. The main character asked how much the subjugation field cost. The system replied that it wasn't expensive, only 1,000 points. But the person signing the subjugation contract had to remain in the field while it was being created. Otherwise, it wouldn't work, and the system points would not be returned. The brass dragon had already asked for help. Selena suggested taking advantage of the moment and quickly escaping while they were busy. As soon as she turned around, she noticed that the dragon was gone. He had run away so quickly that he hadn't even said anything to her. A small flame appeared behind her and began to burn her clothes. Chelsea thought he had run away. It seemed that this little dragon had finally decided to become her pet. Sun Yan replied that the word run away was not in his vocabulary. Selena shouted that the dragon was running in the wrong direction. He needed to come here. The main character demanded that she let the dragon go. Since he had let her go, he would defeat it himself. It was quite interesting. It was very fitting for her pet. In the end, she agreed to let him go. Sun Yan asked if the brass dragon was okay. He replied that everything was fine, and even thanked him for saving him. There's no need to thank him. It's better to remember that salvation comes at a price. He was shocked by Togo when he realized that he now had to pay 1 billion for the gold. The main character asked again if he was okay. That's just over 100 million. Chelsea demanded that he not be distracted by some bugs. After that, Chelsea attacked him. The dragon flew into the sky. Selena shouted for him to be careful, and he'd better look behind him. Sun Yan summoned the contract field. The master successfully acquired the contract field, spending 1,000 points. The field's duration is 10 seconds. This meant that he only had to keep her in the field for 10 seconds. In that case, he would simply grab her whip. Then he pulled Chelsea toward him right into the field. He pressed her against the field with his claws so she couldn't escape. Then Chelsea saw the field and realized that this dragon wanted to keep her there. She decided to use her power to distract him. A worm emerged from the ground and headed towards Selena. There were only 9 seconds left. Selena didn't want to die. The system congratulated the owner on creating the contract field. The capture was interrupted. The field lost its power. He was just a little short. Selena was happy that the dragons had arrived. 80 points were added to her sympathy rating. Her current sympathy level was 300. Thanks to this, he was able to reach the 3rd stage of sympathy and received a special skill called sleeping gas. The system also congratulated him on receiving 5,000 system points. Sun Yan told her to calm down and quickly hide in a safe place. He was so handsome. People with dragons weren't so bad after all. Selena understood everything, so she went to hide. The main character even thought she was so scared. Suddenly, she tripped over something and fell. There, she noticed the ring of the very same magician who had written the warning on the stone in blood. She didn't even think he could create a human field of obedience. It's a pity that any field requires strength and time to create, and this dragon has neither. He should have just become an obedient pet when she told him to. And since he didn't want to listen, she would skin him and make a new snake out of him. Sun Yan tried to stop her. There was still something to discuss. Suddenly, a necromancer's spell, bonding with the earth, appeared. But why did it appear here? She had destroyed them all 1,000 years ago. The main character saw that it was Selena. She told the dragon to hurry up because she couldn't hold her for long. He bought the field of submission again. After that, she was bound again. The field creation time was 10 seconds. The capture was complete, and the field was created. Now the master had to choose a vessel for the sacrifice. The dragon asked if it was possible to make a laugh, as they had done for the previous victims. To tell the truth, the claw could only be considered a horny layer. The container could be made of anything except scales and horns. As usual, he began to fantasize with Chelsea. Then he would make the left hand the container. The deal was done. Chelsea became the master's servant. Selena was happy that they had finally managed to do everything. But there was still something she hadn't had time to do. She took off the ring. The main character asked what it was. Selena explained that it was a corpse. It must have belonged to a previous necromancer, and there was still magic left in the ring. Fortunately, with the help of this ring, she was able to use the necromantic spell Binding to the Earth. Sunian asked why she didn't want to keep the ring for herself. He thought she had an innate talent for necromancy. She would become the most powerful sorceress. Being a necromancer was cool, but it wasn't her dream. Actually, he wouldn't say that she should give it up just because she was afraid of corpses and the undead. He felt like he had forgotten something. Suddenly she heard a familiar voice. It was Anna, who had found the Dragon Lord and Selena. Anna had heard that the Dragon Lord had run into trouble, so she immediately led an army of monsters here. Sunian asked her who she had heard this from. On the way, she had met the dragon hiding. Now he remembered what he had forgotten to do. Rolls-Royce owed him 1 billion gold coins. The dragon thought this was unfair. There was nothing to be done. Sunian gave him 2 options. Either the dragon became his relative and worked for him until he paid off his debt, or he would be skinned alive and become Sunian's weapon. Rolls asked if he really wanted to kill him. After all, he was a member of the Dragon Protection Alliance. If the main character killed him, his alliance would put him on the wanted list. Sunian asked what kind of union it was that protected dragons. There are fewer and fewer dragons. During the time of lawlessness, the birth rate of dragons decreased steadily. When he left Dragon Island, there were less than 100 left. If this continues, the dragons will become extinct. Several thousand years ago, there were tens of thousands of dragons on Dragon Island. Dragons grow slowly. Although they need sleep to live out their legends, people now crave dragon bodies more and more. There are often many merchants, but there is no one to sell to. People who had finally found the Dragon Island broke in. They wanted to kill a couple of dragons and get rich. The dragons' bodies contain only the finest materials, so they must not let anyone escape. With tears in his eyes, he watched as his mom and dad were killed by humans. The more dragon slayers appeared, the less space there was for them to survive. Rolls-Royce had lived here since birth. His parents were killed by dragon slayers. His parents bought him time so that he and his brothers and sisters could escape to Andreus. But the dragon slayers followed them closely, killing his relatives one by one until he was saved by the Dragon Protection Alliance. The Dragon Protection Alliance was created by adult red and silver dragons. They want to protect the remaining dragons. It doesn't matter if a dragon is golden or colored. If it obeys the rules of the Alliance, it can join and receive protection. But now only the red dragon Kaiser remains in the Alliance. Apart from him, there are no colored dragons who have voluntarily joined the Alliance. These arrogant fools will sooner or later be destroyed by the dragon slayers. All they know is how to sleep and eat. They don't care about the world or their fellow creatures. They just fight among themselves for power, never stopping. If the main character kills him, the Alliance will soon issue an arrest warrant for him and eventually imprison him, where he will be fed stinking bugs day after day. This is not a threat at all. He's tired of hearing this whining. He still gives him 2 options. Either he becomes his kinsman, or he cooperates with him. And if he doesn't want to, then his Sunyan will seal his mouth so that he cannot speak. And every day he will eat those stinking bugs. The great Rolls-Royce Phantom Tourmaline wishes to serve him. But he must swear to the colored dragon, the Dragon Mother Tiamat and Bahamut, not to seal his mouth and not to let him eat stinky bugs. Sunyan Waters Pardernak swears to the Dragon Mother Tiamat and Bahamut. If this dragon serves him faithfully, he will not seal his mouth and will not give him stinky bugs. Rolls-Royce Phantom Tourmaline wishes to become a relative of the Black Dragon Sunian under these conditions. He noticed a crack on his hand, possibly a mark from the contract he had signed. The system reported that, for unknown reasons, his publicity rating had dropped. He must investigate the specific reasons himself. He did not expect the publicity to decrease again. He had just been resting, so he did not understand what had happened outside. She asked the Dragon Lord what had happened. Sunyan replied that he had simply been bitten by a mosquito. He told Anna to go back to sleep. She climbed onto the dragon and even kissed him. Anna did this for Togo so that the bite wouldn't hurt. After that, she wished the dragon gentleman a good night. Sunien tried to control himself. Soon he would become human, and then he would be happy. The village of newcomers, Sakura number 2. The main characters asked the system if it was sure that this was the correct village for newcomers. Compared to the 1st and 6th villages, this one had grown quite a bit. Because the master had turned all his attention to the villages near the Silver Forest, this had become the normal rate of development for players. That is, according to the system, it turns out that there are many more villages like this one, and even better ones. Players behave like colonizers who first need to become stronger themselves in order to gain a foothold in this land and become its owners. So she's saying that this village is more like an invading species that has no natural enemies in nature. Forest thicket. Near the village of newbies is Sakura number 1. Hippocles informed the master that the ammunition was ready. The main character asked him what he had in his hands. It's a new development. They are 10 times more powerful than poison gas bombs. Progress is certainly a positive development, but next time it would be preferable to eliminate the unpleasant odor. He flew up and ordered everyone to throw those balls. Everyone followed his orders and began shooting the balls. The Soglavians were determined to attack the village, and the rabbits wanted to kill them. People began to scatter as soon as they saw the invasion of monsters. He immediately covered his mouth, as he didn't understand what it was. At first, he even thought it was poisonous gas. He had to tell his master quickly. However, this man couldn't speak properly because he felt like he was going to vomit. Sunien told Rolls-Royce to use dragon breath with him. They had to direct it to the very center of the city. However, Rolls-Royce thought that would make things worse. These people hadn't provoked them, so he didn't understand why they should be killed. If they had started the conflict, then it would have made sense to respond. He called the dragon an idiot. Didn't he understand why there were fewer and fewer dragons? At that moment, only the second half of the man remained. Rolls-Royce asked in surprise why. It was as if he hadn't told him earlier why he had fled the Dragon Island and what had happened to his parents. It was because of humans. Humans had taken over the dragon's living space. They had destroyed the kingdom where they lived. They killed many of the dragon's kin. They cut out all their organs and used them as they pleased. They even made armor out of them. If he ever lets a human go, they will lead him to the lair of the dragon slayers, turn his corpse into a bag of gold, and celebrate with their weapons. They will celebrate in the cold. These people must die. He even remembered what had happened to him in his childhood. Now that he understood everything, he had to destroy this human village along with him. People screamed as soon as they saw 2 dragons flying toward them. The man told all the mages to get ready. They had to distribute shields to the soldiers and then immediately cast the most powerful spell. 2 mages also had to be selected to cast a slowing spell on the dragons. Dragons have the highest resistance to elemental magic. The slowing spell would not last long. Why did the dragons attack so suddenly? A few days ago, Chief Fardor led his people to attack the Black Dragon. Perhaps this dragon is seeking revenge. He realized that his father had been defeated. No wonder there was no news from his father. He will avenge him. They should get their spears and aim at the dragons. 45 degrees. Get ready to throw with all your strength. Then he told them to throw. Sunien used his tomb to disarm them. The men were surprised when they saw their weapons begin to fall to the ground. The young man ordered them to raise their shields. However, they began to run away from the spear. These little people overestimated themselves. Rolls-Royce had a question. It seemed that these people couldn't die. He had seen with his own eyes how the players he had trampled on came out of some room right in front of them. Now that he had noticed this, Sunien would tell him everything about these people. The world they lived in was not the only one. There were other worlds besides this one. He must remember that this world had been taken over by a dragon, and these people had come from other worlds. Sakura number 2. The village of newcomers. The woman told the young gentleman that these dragons were too ferocious. They would not be able to kill them. They had to flee to other villages as soon as possible. Is there really a village of newcomers somewhere nearby? The girl replied that there was one nearby. Camp A Sanya. Although it is not on the map, she thinks they have invisibility. If it's an invisible village, they had to leave immediately. The girl asked what the people in that village were doing. Whatever they were doing, they didn't respawn. They lived among the green mountains and weren't afraid to use them as firewood. They just have to wait until the dragons fly away and rebuild the village. Outside the village of newcomers was Sakura number 2. He would definitely return. The girl hurried him, because the invisibility potion only worked for 10 minutes. As he can see for himself, these people are not from this world. They came here to conquer. If the humans succeeded in their conquest, this world would be in danger or even destroyed, like a used object. That's why Sunyan attacked them. Besides, each of these people is a professional. It's much easier for them to become stronger. All they have to do is kill a couple of monsters, that is, them. Rolls-Royce wondered if that meant they were also in danger. It is essential to remain calm. The main character wondered if it was even a dragon. It appeared to be of no use, just a bundle of nerves. He doesn't know how other places have resisted. All he knows is that he will gather all the monsters he knows here, destroy the villages of strangers, and build his own city of monsters. And this little thing looks very important. Rolls-Royce asked what it was. Sunyan replied that this crystal could help them gain the ability to build cities, but they could only obtain it by destroying a human village. Therefore, they must unite. By truly uniting, they will build a city for monsters together and drive out these invaders. The brass dragon Rolls-Royce wishes to become his kin. He swears to Bahamut that he will follow him until his death. Wherever the main character's dragon breath lands, it leaves only ashes. His sympathy has grown to 300 points. He feels admiration. Sunyan has also been waiting for this day. But before that, they will try to become stronger. The system congratulated the master on the complete destruction of the village of Newbies. His publicity has increased. His popularity rose again. A new boss appeared in the new world, so there was no need to worry about other players coming for now. Anna ran to him. Ipokli sensed that 2 people had escaped. They sent people after them. However, the dragon replied that there was no need to chase them. Let them just find the people and follow them quietly. They would simply see where these people could escape to. The village of Hindu newcomers number 4. What bad luck. This time they would not be pathetic worms with this dragon who had run off to hell. Who knows? Maybe this beauty would fall into their hands. At the same time, the Hindu newcomer village was burning. People were calling for help. Others were already beginning to think that they had come to the wrong place. Could this really be their village? Monsters were attacking the city. They had to get out of there. However, they asked the captain why they should run, if they could be reborn. He slapped him and called him an idiot. Apparently, they hadn't seen the latest strategy post. The players from Sakura village died of starvation without water or food, somewhere in a corner of the world square, because the respawn time was too long. The captain is right, so we have to run. They also learned that the dragon currently attacking the village is the same dragon that threw them into the river. But how did they find their village? Suddenly the same girl appeared before them. There they were, meeting again. She just wanted to know where the black dragon was. They didn't understand why she wanted to see the black dragon. She should just come with them and have fun. There was an explosion. Now he begged the warrior to have mercy. The girl demanded that he simply take her to the dragon. The system congratulated the master on successfully destroying the beginner village. He also received a fragment of the Newbie village's core. His fame increased. If the owner continued to destroy Newbie villages, he would be marked as a world boss. For attacking 2 Newbie villages in a row, he received 200,000 points. Finally, he was able to collect all 4 core fragments. It was so difficult to wander around there. She had no idea they would meet so soon. This dragon's bloodlust was incomparable. Apparently, she needed to find the right moment to get closer to him. Her current score was 254,995. She decided to take advantage of the situation. The girl pretended to fall to the ground and began to cry for help. Sunyan heard her cries and came down. Now she noticed that the Dragon Lord was holding her down. The main character apologized for this. She was surprised that he was so polite and even apologized. He must be pretending. They would see what would happen when she tore off his false mask. She thanked the Dragon Lord for saving her. The girl also wished to serve him. As soon as he looked at her information window, he saw that everything was unknown. Even her name and level. Of course, he took the bait. She could use her beauty to get close to him, and after she gained his trust, she would kill the dragon. It was a perfect plan. Meanwhile, Sunyan didn't understand why she was doing this. It was better to stay away from such an incomprehensible creature. He noticed those same people again. They replied that they had not intentionally insulted the great dragon. This girl might be much better to eat than they were. He only became angrier, because these pathetic insects dared to bargain with him. They were still trying to contaminate the dragon's taste buds with their filthy flesh. This was unforgivable. He tried to stop the Dragon Lord, saying that they could give him their treasure and pass on various information. Sunyan asked what treasure and information they were talking about. Let them tell him, and then the great dragon would not burn him. He offered the great dragon to taste these traditional delicacies. Each of them has a wonderful taste, 1,000 years of aging. However, the main character simply burned them. He would give them 3 seconds to tell him what they knew. Otherwise, they should not be offended if only ashes remained of them. All they know is that recently, on the western shore of the kingdom of Andreus, the Storm King of Worms appeared. This worm is very cruel. He has already destroyed 4 human villages, and as they say, the Worm King is crawling towards the kingdom of labyrinth to attack. Very soon there will be even more human casualties. This information is worth absolutely nothing. It means nothing to the dragon. He just wants to know where the gold coins and jewels are. And since this man knows nothing, the dragon has no choice but to burn him. The guy immediately said he would find out. The Storm King of Worms has committed many evil deeds and attracted a bunch of mercenaries. These mercenaries have come from different places, and each of them has incredible strength and luxurious equipment. But compared to the great dragon, the King of Worms is just trash. The same can be said about the mercenaries. All that remains is to wait for them to kill each other, and then kill 2 birds with 1 stone. The King of Worms must have been marked as the boss of the world. After all, he killed 4 villages. The difference between him and the boss is only 1. If it weren't for the awakening of the system, he would probably be the boss that all players are hunting for now. Sunyan also wanted to know if he had any other information. He immediately shook his head. Although he didn't have any information right now, they agreed to pass on more information to him at any time later. The system congratulated the Heavenly Dynasty player Li Chen on reaching level 30. He was the first player to reach this level. As a reward, he was given Grand Master equipment and 2 scrolls with a choice of combat skills. Since a player who reached level 30 had been discovered, the reality of the world was upgraded. All players' sensitivity increased from 0 to 10%. The dragon also noticed that the bug's face had somehow changed. Could it be hiding something else from the great dragon? The system also informed the master that sensitivity to other players had increased by 10%. Now they were even sensitive to pain. Even a 10% increase greatly weakened them. It seemed that now the main character would be able to discover much more interesting gameplay. The guy explained that he just suddenly needed to use the restroom. He wasn't hiding anything from the great dragon. He had never hidden anything from him. Sunyan replied that if he kept his word, then he wouldn't burn him. Suddenly he pinned them down. The main character only said that he wouldn't burn him. He didn't promise anything else. And here the true nature of the dragon showed itself. Finally, Anna and Selena returned. She didn't expect 2 more girls to be suffering at the hands of the vicious dragon. It looked like they would have to be rescued too. Anna wanted to get home quickly to wash up, but her body was still covered in unbearable filth. He immediately began to fantasize about how Anna wanted to help him wash. In that case, he would have to tell Hippocleus that they were leaving immediately. She also asked the Dragon Lord to take her with him. She wanted to give him her precious possession. Selena and Anna thought it was unfair that they were finishing the battle here while he was kidnapping girls behind their backs. Sunyan asked the system if there was any way to get rid of her. The system said that the master could release a sleeping gas. As for ordinary people, it was estimated that there would be enough time to return to the lair before she woke up. If we ask the master if he is sure that we should release the sleeping gas, the main character agreed. What's that? Since the owner doesn't have special glands on his skin that release gas, this is the only way. But why didn't the system say anything about this earlier? He lost the entire dragon part. The system asked if he wanted to connect the 4 fragments of the Newbie village core. If he connected them, he would get the right to build Newbie villages. He already had that, so he was all for connecting them. The connection was complete. The system congratulated him on obtaining a pure Newbie village core. Now he had to choose the type of village. The first type was a beginner-level fortress. The second type is a beginner-level dragon lair. The third type is a beginner-level underground city. He noted that the system's underground city was very poor. Every day he would have to walk back and forth from the city to the city. That would take so much time. A whole day without sunlight. It would be easy to get sick. The system told him that a portal could be built in the underground city. He and his subordinate monsters would be able to enter and leave the city as they wished. All they would need was points to build it. Moreover, the underground city was not dark at all. An optical field concentrated the sunlight from above, creating an imitation of the sun. The owner could also adjust the brightness of the light. He decided to build an underground city. The system asked him to choose the entrance to the underground city. The entrance would be right in his lair. And if the time came when players dared to go on a raid, they would find themselves right in his endless matryoshka. Anna asked if it was really an earthquake. Where could they hide from it all? Sunyan replied that there was no need to hide. This was their new home, so everything would be fine soon. She didn't want a new home. It would be better to hide somewhere else, because the dragon's lair would soon collapse. The construction of the underground city was complete. The master had a chance to teleport all the monsters to the underground city. The main character began the teleportation. At first, the monsters thought that humans had attacked them. Then they were teleported to a new place, the palace of the first-level Dark Lord. While in any of the palaces of the underground city, all of the master's stats are increased by 50%. The current open skill is Palace Guard. The master can appoint one guard. Within a radius of 500 meters from the main palace, the guard receives a 20% increase in all characteristics. The system displayed possible candidates, Anna Hathaway and Rolls-Royce. The rest of the skills need to be unlocked. Upgrading the Dark Lord's palace to the second level costs 100,000 points. You also need 2 fragments of the beginner village core, or 2 whole cores. The main character asked the system why only these 2 could be made guards. The system replied that the levels of the other creatures did not yet meet the requirements for a guard. However, the master could place other creatures in the labyrinth. In that case, he decided to make Rolls-Royce a guard. Rolls-Royce asked what was going on. He felt as if a power had been infused into him. The dragon even thought that he had evolved. Sunyan began to feel as if he had made a mistake. In any case, he decided to check out the rest of the underground city. Kobold Lair, Level 1. Kobold productivity increased by 100%. Their maturation period reduced by 50%, and the combat effectiveness of newborn kobolds increased by 20%. Null Lair, First Level. Productivity increased by 20%. Maturation period reduced by 20%. Combat power of newborn gnomes increased by 20%. Eagle's Nest, First Level. Increased demon bird birth efficiency by 50%. Maturation period reduced by 100%, and combat power of newborn demon birds increased by 20%. This is a lair of various beasts, so their appearance here is not surprising. That means it will be easy to form a fighting force in a short period of time. Black Prison of Pain. A creature imprisoned in the Black Prison is subjected to constant torment, and receives 1 torment every day. Each torment increases its pain perception by 5%, up to a maximum of 10 torments. Reincarnation Pool, First Level. The owner can spend system points on the reincarnation of ordinary beasts. Dark Wheatfield, First Level, increases crop ripening speed by 100%. Underground River. Produces cool, drinkable groundwater. All of this is much better than a dragon's lair. It's good that he didn't choose a dragon's lair. According to the nature of the system, most of the functions in a dragon's lair would be designed only for dragons. For example, increasing the likelihood of pregnancy in dragons, and increasing the survival rate of dragon eggs. It was discovered that the owner had built his animal gathering place. The system asked if he wanted to hide the coordinates of the gathering place. The owner can hide the location for 1 week, after which the gathering place will be visible and appear on the map of all players. Sunyan shouted, asking what kind of stupid system this was. When he tried to destroy the Newbie village, the system wouldn't let him, saying that he would be marked as a world boss. And now, when he had finally managed to build an underground city, it said that he had either revealed himself voluntarily, or that his lair would be revealed in 7 days. And what's the difference now between him and becoming a world boss? The discovery of the underground city is inevitable, as the fragments of the core are the main product of the Newbie village. However, after the underground city is discovered, the owner will not be marked as a world boss, and no portal will be created. The owner will receive 2 new characteristics. First, the owner's underground city and its history will begin to spread across the continent. Second, players attracted by the story will increase its legendary level when they die in the underground city, and they will also give it double system points. The legendary level is linked to the improvement of the underground city structures, and higher legendary levels unlock more advanced functional structures. Here he is, reborn, and creating a new project in another world. Is the Black Dragon's existence really just to be toyed with by players and locals? He ordered the location of the underground city to be hidden. Even if it's just for 1 day, it doesn't matter. He doesn't want anything to bother him. The dungeon was hidden. 5 archer towers were discovered that are not yet in the underground city. The system suggested moving them. The towers weren't needed yet. The dragon asked the system how he could get out of this place, where the portal was. The system replied that 20,000 system points were required to create a one-way portal. And at the current level of the underground city, only one-way portal could be created. He was so tired of this damn system, he ordered them to build it. An underground labyrinth. Celestina screamed that there was a ghost here. Anna replied that it was just a shadow. The Labyrinth of Darkness, first level. The Labyrinth of Darkness is the first line of defense of the underground city, practically indestructible. Any intruder who wishes to enter the dungeon will have to pass through its trials and tribulations. Characteristic 1. Disorientation. In the Labyrinth of Darkness, creatures lose their sense of direction. The second characteristic is the chance of being killed. In the Labyrinth of Darkness, the combat effectiveness of beasts increases by 10%. They also become invisible when they are motionless. He ordered Epocleus to stand in that corner and not move until he told him to. He disappeared. Celestina was frightened by this as soon as she saw it. Anna also found it strange that the Soglovets had simply disappeared. Epocleus was standing right there. The underground city. That's normal. She won't be able to find him. It's a feature of the Labyrinth of Darkness, where any beast that stands still for 5 seconds becomes invisible. He didn't even expect this Labyrinth of Darkness to have such great power. He also had an idea. They could set traps in the Labyrinth of Darkness and send several beasts to guard it. In this way, thanks to the Labyrinth of Darkness, they would block the enemy's path inside. This was to be expected from Epocleus. He was a real expert when it came to dirty tricks. It's a good idea. So he decided to leave it to Epocleus. At the same time, he needs to send the potatoes to a dark wheat field and order the soldiers to grow them. Those who have previously disobeyed him should be taken to the Black Prison of Pain and locked up for 10 days. After 10 days, they will deal with them. If he buys golden apples, he will have 5,000 system points left in reserve. He needs to allocate the remaining system points to purchases that are more profitable for him. A strengthening plan that can best increase his power. In accordance with the requirements and the master, the system selects the most suitable improvement program that corresponds to his current capabilities and physical needs. It is recommended to strengthen the muscles for 100,000 points, the initial level of royal will, and a golden apple. There are 5,000 system points in reserve. At the moment, the host has 44,995 system points left. The system asked if he wanted to start strengthening. Su Nian informed Anna that he would begin improvement. Anna wanted to protect the Dragon Lord. Therefore, he could sleep peacefully. This time, there was no need to sleep, but the process could be more painful, so he suggested that she go play somewhere else. He was afraid he might scare her. However, Anna still wanted to stay there. They say that a dragon's evolution is a very dangerous thing, that an accident could happen at any moment. Anna will stay here and protect the Dragon Lord. If that's what she wants, then let her stay with him. However, terrible things can happen during the evolution process. Anna needs to stay away from him because he is afraid that he might hurt her. In that case, it's time to begin. The system has requested that you note that this is a complex improvement that affects many organs throughout the carrier's body and is accompanied by severe pain. To prevent accidents involving the host, this transformation will seal his vocal cords and remove his limbs. What vocal cords and what kind of limb removal? Su Nian fell to the ground. Anna was frightened for the Dragon Lord. It was so painful that he just wanted to lose consciousness. The system replied that it was possible, but it would cost 1,000 system points. It was better than feeling pain. 1,000 points were spent. The master fell into a deep sleep. Sometime later, he asked the system what was happening. He had just spent 1,000 points and closed his eyes. The system explained that there was another reason that had woken him up. It was Anna. She was using healing magic. Su Nian mentally asked her to stop. But what's worse is that he can't speak. He hates this damn system. Then he found himself in the world of consciousness. Su Nian didn't even understand what these threads were. Today's lunch is potatoes. He really loves potatoes. He thanked the great master for giving him potatoes. Praised the potatoes. This has nothing to do with the title of Doghead Guard. The system explained that the master created it in connection with one creature. It is possible to establish a connection with 999 creatures. To establish a connection with a large number of creatures, you need to continue to improve the consciousness of the herd. So that's what herd consciousness means. You can establish a connection with such a huge number of creatures, so you need to use them to their fullest potential. Sun Yan asked the system where they were in Hippocleia's consciousness. He touched the thread. At the same time, Hippocleius was busy, and at that moment, the main character entered him. It's not the most pleasant feeling. It seems that by creating a pack, he can not only hear the thoughts of others, but also control their bodies. Soglavets. Hippoclei Krivazub is in the process of acceleration. Countdown time. 593,614 seconds. Soglid. Hippocleius Crooked Tooth. Inherited 0.1% of his master's attributes based on blood concentration. Soglid. Hippocleius Crooked Tooth inherited the iron armor skill. As expected, he is becoming stronger. As the dragon's level increases, the concentration of dragon blood in Hippoclei's blood increases. However, there is a limit to this increase. The advantage is that there is no need to transfer blood in the heart for Hippoclei and the other beasts. Now it's time for Noel, the flaming rabbit, the demon bird Hannah, the underground city. Anna was very happy that the Dragon Lord had finally awakened. The main character caught her as she was falling. She had used healing magic, which is why she was so weak. She needed to rest properly. Suddenly, he noticed that Chelsea's sympathy level had increased by 20 points. The sympathy level had reached the requirements for the first stage. The system congratulated the master on gaining the ability to absorb improvements. He also received 2,000 system points. The dragon did not understand what had happened. Why did the sympathy level suddenly increase for no apparent reason? As the master improved, the contract servant would follow his physical development. Sun Yan didn't even expect that this was possible. It felt as if someone was parasitizing him. The dragon hoped that he was simply not in danger. Thema said that as long as the contract existed, there was no danger. A theoretical contract could only be terminated by the death of the master. The main character demanded that this cursed system stop cursing him and let him die. Now it was time for the final step. Apart from Anna, Rolls-Royce was the only one who had not yet received his inheritance. After all, Rolls-Royce was a dragon, so he should be allowed to choose which ability he wanted to inherit. He had a human friend in his hands. He was the first to hear this story in all the long years of Rolls-Royce's life. The story begins with the copper dragon breaking out of its lair. How he wished someone would shut that dragon up. He didn't want to hear all those 50,000 words. Rolls-Royce mentioned that when you listen, you should look into the eyes of the person you are talking to. It is basic respect. The main character arrived. Rolls-Royce asked the Great Master why he was there. Rolls-Royce noticed that his aura had become even stronger, and his size even larger. Indeed, after this improvement and the destruction of 2 villages of newbies, he had reached level 38. 3 more levels, and he would be at the level of a young dragon. He would be one step closer to becoming a young dragon, and then he could be with Anna. Here, Rolls-Royce had to make a choice. Sun Yan ran his claw over it, and improvements appeared. Rolls-Royce asked the master what it was. He must choose one skill he needs. The system noted that since Rolls-Royce is a pure-blooded dragon, the main character's ability can be inherited by him, but the effect will be greatly reduced. The improvement is limited. He is a dragon, so he already has iron armor. As for dragon breath, he already has sleep breath and anger breath. One is for control, the other is for attack. They are very useful, and there is no need to change them. Therefore, he chose to strengthen his muscle power. This way, he will become stronger and bigger. But, of course, he is no match for a black dragon master. However, this will be 1/3 of the way there. After that, the improvement began. He was grateful to the Great Master for this blow, and now he felt twice as strong. Rolls-Royce even thought that if a thunder giant appeared before him, he could handle it. Quite a good improvement. Now he is one of the best fighters in the underground city. The main character hopes that he will continue to work hard and maintain discipline, as well as protect their home. Rolls-Royce did not understand where the Great Master had flown off to, because he did not even have time to tell him who the thunder giant was. Fortunately, he left on time. If he had stayed, the guy would have kept talking non-stop, and then Sun Yan wouldn't have been able to leave. While he had some free time, he decided to check on Anna, Andreas's palace. Much time had passed, but there was no news about the Black Dragon. The special envoy of that idiot Aaron was here again. The queen demanded that he pull himself together, but he was angry with the queen, and suddenly she tried to calm him down. She ordered announcements to be posted throughout the country to select those who would dare to fight the dragon. The queen is confident that there will be good news soon. Kill the Black Dragon and save the princess. The victorious hero will marry the princess and receive wealth and status. But they don't have a princess. The queen remembers that before buying the half-elf, the slave girl gave them her slave contract. The contract shows what she looks like. She is truly a beauty beyond compare. Now the king admits that this is an excellent idea. But this girl is half-elf. She has animal ears and a tail. The queen replied that they could redraw the portrait, hiding the ears and tail. The king then asked what they would do when the traveler killed the dragon, and realized that something was wrong. Nothing. He is the ruler of this country. The palace is their territory. When the traveler returns, regardless of whether he gets the half-dead half-elf girl or not, when he dares to enter the palace, they will have 100 ways to kill him. A chill ran down his spine. An underground palace. At first, she thought it was the Dragon Lord. His tongue made Anna's hair wet, but then she saw that it wasn't the Dragon Lord. Anna first thought that the Dragon Lord had evolved and turned into a ram. Then she woke up. So it was a dream. But if Mr. Dragon had turned into a lamb, he would have been so cute. He heard her thoughts about the ram. Anna couldn't understand how Mr. Dragon could hear her inner voice. The dragon replied that it was a natural skill that developed over time. Does that mean Anna can no longer hide her thoughts from Mr. Dragon? Sunyan wanted to hear what she was thinking about. She replied that even Mr. Dragon couldn't secretly eavesdrop on her thoughts, or she would get angry. The system sent a notification that a large number of players were approaching the underground city. Now he had two options. Option 1, let nature take its course. In this case, there was a chance that the player would not be able to find the entrance to the underground city, or would give up on attacking it. Option 2, if the leader entered the underground city, his dungeon could be in danger. He could have thought that they would arrive so quickly. His underground city is so large, and the structures were so magnificently built. If he is the only one enjoying it, it will be a little lonely. We need to give the players a chance to have some fun. Anna asked the Dragon Lord where they were going. The main character replied that they must of course meet the guests. They were approaching the dragon's lair. The man asked if they were ready. There was no need to worry. He would destroy the black dragon with a single shot. Besides, someone had already dealt with this black dragon before. It was not easy to defeat, so they had to be careful. Last time, they failed to kill the black dragon because the brave but reckless Valdoli was too reckless. These are elite players he has handpicked, who are not only highly skilled fighters, but also skilled with firearms. They didn't encounter a single beast on the way. The girl asked if he was sure this was the right place. It was surprising that there was such a beautiful girl in this team. But she wasn't a player. The man asked who she was and why she had joined the team. Her name is Freya. She is a sorceress, who will soon become a star mage. Did they come here in response to the announcement and King Andreas's order to kill the dragon and save the princess? Freya thought they could work together. Of course, they had come here in response to the announcement, but they were working with the strong. They were with a weak girl like her. But doesn't the fact that they didn't notice her presence prove the opposite? She began to whistle, and there appeared a monster. It was immediately attacked. Freya tried to stop them, because it was her pet. The girl realized that this flaming stick possessed great power. Judging by its appearance, it was definitely already dead. There was no need to worry, because he was a healer. No matter how badly he was injured, he would recover. Only he could heal any of them. At that moment, the man came back to life. After that, she welcomed them both to the team. The main character watched the newcomers. He even sent a piece of paper there. The piece of paper landed on his face. Legend has it that in the forest of the Silver Moon, there is a magnificent underground city, a dark labyrinth with a terrifying statue of a black dragon, in which the dragon smiles maliciously. Only a true brave man can challenge and enter the underground city, and in the end get the inexhaustible treasure of the underground city. The dark labyrinth awaits your challenge. It's surprising that he didn't encounter a single monster along the way, as they were all hiding in the underground city. Once he kills the black dragon, the treasures will be his, as he has earned them. Freya asked what he was holding in his hands. He immediately threw away the useless piece of paper. The man announced that all the monsters were in the underground city. They had to be taken by surprise and attacked. How terrible of them to attack unexpectedly. They hadn't done anything to them, yet these people wanted to kill them. Sunyan tried to calm Anna down. It wasn't like his head was a rock that you could hit with your hand. She apologized to the Dragon Lord. Anna was very angry, and she would be more careful next time. One can only laugh at the fact that these little people want to attack unexpectedly. There's no need to worry. He'll let them into the maze. from which they won't be able to escape. Su Nian called the hare and the gray wolf. They immediately came to the dragon's side. The dragon ordered his team of fire rabbits to grab their weapons and follow him into the maze. He was going to organize a defense and call a couple of gnomes. The cooler they looked, the better. A little later, the main character asked the gray wolf if he even understood what ferocity meant. He was seeing such ugly monsters for the first time in this world. Perhaps they possessed a talent that could scare players to death. The labyrinth has one peculiarity. They can become invisible to people inside it for 5 seconds. While they are in this state, it is very difficult for people to sense or see them. They must block people's paths as often as possible and eliminate them from the maze. In this place, they must use a retreat plan. If they cannot defeat the people, they must run away. He does not want to see monsters being sacrificed. He abruptly stopped Anna. Anna asked the Dragon Lord how he knew it was her. Obviously, it had been done very carefully. But he wasn't blind. The dragon ordered her to return. She was forbidden to engage in battle. But she began to say that she was very strong and could protect the dragon's lair and the black dragon himself. Anna began to ask for permission. Su Nian replied that it was dangerous. After receiving permission to go, Anna became much more cheerful and lively, and she stopped being cautious. Is this really the nature of animals? Anna then asked why Selena was allowed to go, but she was not. Now Selena also began to ask for permission. Finally, the main character found out who Anna had learned this from. In the end, the two of them came with him anyway. This is the eldest princess of Elorana, a genius of magic and heir to the star magic. If she wins the Black Dragon's heart this time, she will no longer have to worry about becoming the head of star magic. In addition, she will receive a reward and power from King Andreus and the recognition of her father. This is the entrance to the underground city. She had read many stories about underground cities in the royal library. An artificially carved and realistic stone door like this was only meant to distract the eye. Therefore, this was definitely not the entrance to the underground city. However, he thought it was pointless. Couldn't she see the clues for the players? Then he pulled the lever, and it really was an entrance. What a disgusting piece of trash. It was his fault for clouding her judgment. Could this really be the entrance to the underground labyrinth? There were 3 doors, and it was unclear which one they should enter. She wanted to show mercy and tell them. There was a chance to get out of the labyrinth through all 3 doors, so she suggested that they split up and go through each one together. Even if there was only one real door, if they couldn't get through the others, they would just retreat, find another door, and go through it. However, they don't have time for trial and error. He orders Maiden to lead one group through the door on the left while he goes through the center. The rest, along with Miss Freya, will go through the door on the right. How dare this man ignore her? She wouldn't have gone with him if she didn't need that powerful, huge staff to fight the dragon. When she got out of here, she would make sure her father had this man executed for being such an ungrateful bastard. Suddenly, she bumped into something and didn't understand what had dared to block the princess's path. There she saw a statue of a black dragon. The girl thought the statue looked very lifelike. Even the best sculptors couldn't achieve such a curve. However, the man thought that this statue looked very strange. He even just sneezed. As it turned out, he was allergic to fur. There was definitely a living creature with fur here. They all noticed his message. Another guy didn't understand who would put such an ugly statue in the middle of the road. It should just be blown up with RGB. However, he told the writer to stop. There is obsidian protection up to level 60 here, so weapons won't work. Besides, they'll just attract attention. They need to get out of here, and they need to be careful. There may be monsters in the maze. There's no need to worry. The rate will take care of it. Actually, this statue looks impressive. He even noticed how it had drooled on his clothes. It was disgusting. Only then did he look back and realize that it wasn't a statue at all. This caused an explosion. He immediately grabbed the man by his clothes and asked who had fired the shot. It seemed to be the Wraith. He immediately wanted to find the bastard who wasn't listening to orders. Freya suggested going there, since there was an exit. But then she told him to wait. Hadn't they noticed anything strange? Who had just shown them the way? Wasn't it her? It couldn't be her showing them the way. Didn't their people always lead the way? It was Anna. She noticed that these people were arguing among themselves. The dragon replied that they wouldn't have time for arguments in the near future. He let out a lion's roar. They immediately turned back, not understanding what it was. People began to scatter as soon as they saw the statues come to life. Some were even taken by a bird. A man cried for help. They rushed to run away, but it was too late. The man tried to calm them down. Now they had to defend themselves. They must not forget that they had weapons. And then they saw a huge shadow in front of them. It was the shadow of a dragon. He wanted to try to defeat the dragon, but the main character simply swallowed it. That wasn't enough for his cries. The system reported that he had absorbed 1 RGP projectile. The strength of his scaly armor increased by 0.0001%, and the dragon's breath power increased by 0.0001%. After that, he decided to burn them with his dragon breath. He explained to these stupid players that the narrower the area, the more suitable it is for a large team. Otherwise, the entire team could easily be destroyed. The system congratulated the host for repelling the human invasion. He killed 2,172 people. 54,921 system points were earned. The legend level of the underground city increased by 3,652. Now he is at the boss legend level. A new structure has been unlocked, the Dark Foundry. In fact, he thought it would be difficult to reach the legend level. But now he sees that it's not like that at all. By destroying the wave of players, he reached the first legend level and unlocked a new feature. Construction that will bring true enjoyment. He also asked the system to explain what the legend level was. Legend levels range from low to high. Boss stage, Lord stage, Bloodbath stage, Disaster stage, Saga stage, World Destruction stage, Heaven Destruction stage. The next Lord stage requires a legend level of Subju. Then each legend stage increases tenfold. Increasing legend synchronizes the increase in impact and interaction. However, the increase in impact affects the entire dungeon, and the impact received is divided equally between the master and his subordinate monsters. So it won't be easy for the master to become a world boss. The system recommended continuing to increase your legendary level. This is due to the underground city being updated and new buildings being unlocked. As the legendary level increases, the underground city will appear on the maps of more and more players. And naturally, more and more players will come here to their certain death. Then all he can do is sit, wait, and occasionally do something. He told Anna to go. Anna explained to the Dragon Lord that the battle was not over yet. There was no time to play now. It was better to leave the cleanup to Apocleus and the others. They had more important things to do. After all this, there was no road ahead, and now they were truly at a dead end. She heard the words that they were truly unlucky. Freya immediately turned around to see who it was. It was her very own servant. He had attacked his mistress. These simple soldiers were so useful that they were easily killed. Freya asked this worthless pig if he really wanted to go against her. He advised his dear mistress to give up resistance. After all, resistance was futile. Freya didn't understand how he had done it, that her powers were now disappearing. What had he done? Did she really think that the brave man only had the ability to regenerate? The girl wondered why she couldn't find him. A man sat down next to her and asked if this was what Her Majesty was looking for. Freya asked why he had the medicine. Was he no longer under control? To tell the truth, he was truly grateful to her. If it weren't for this path of torment and the spiritual tempering of the medicine, he would not have been able to awaken abilities such as deterioration, improvement, and capture one after another. It was time to pay the dear mistress for treating him like a dog and a medicine pot. Suddenly, the main character appeared, who had not even thought he would see such a thing on his way back. In his own palace, no one was allowed to surpass its owner. Anna asked the Dragon Lord what he was looking at. It was so embarrassing for him that he just wanted to show Anna a new Dark Foundry. She agreed. In fact, in his mind, the building looked different. She replied that the structure of this building was completely unique. Sunyan yelled at the system, saying that it was just a gate. He asked where the large Dark Foundry was and why there was only this here. The owner unlocked only the Dark Foundry structures. But to build a full-fledged Dark Foundry, system points were still needed. To build one structure, you need 5 W system points. This is a terrible system. It just wants to rob him. Other systems give everything for free, but this one only wants money from him every day and doesn't even suffer from it. He can no longer be the owner. Sunyan asked the system that would love him to come here, and he was greeted by another system. The fee for the services of the Justice and Reason system is 49,999, of which 49,999 go toward building a foundry and hiring workers. Only a small portion goes toward maintaining the system itself. This system spends only a few system points to support itself. That's just wonderful. The system asked the owner how he wanted to proceed. He wanted to build the Dark Foundry for free. This was the last time he would compromise. Let her be grateful for that. The system replied that it could be done for free, but only the first 100 standard equipment units would be free. In that case, they agreed. The system wrote a message for its descendants. They should never sign contracts with greedy dragons. They should not refuse to install the self-destruction program to save money. In case of force majeure, the self-destruction program must be activated immediately. They must remember this. This is what the Foundry should look like. The main character asked the system how he should work with the equipment. Why couldn't he even see the dwarves or gnomes? Due to low energy, self-repair was activated. Didn't she say that 100 pieces of equipment were free? She must explain what is happening. An old man approached him and explained that they were Foundry workers who specialized in manufacturing equipment. The old man asked if there were any tasks for them at the moment. Anna explained to the gentleman that she was not a Dark Lord. The Lord was standing behind him. How inconvenient for him. He turned away to where no one was. And why did the main character start to feel that it wasn't worth his money? Current points. 51,916. This old man probably knows that there is no charge for the first 100 copies. Now the main character wants to forge a long sword. Let the old man tell him what resources he needs, and he will find them. All ore and materials can be used to forge a long sword. However, the level of the long sword that can be forged depends on the materials and equipment of the Foundry. With the current equipment, weapons of the highest level can be cast. If the equipment, fire, and materials are all the best, he will be able to forge a divine weapon. The system reported that the owner had received a decision of will from the great dwarf blacksmith, Britta Sanderson Greystone. The owner is immune to decisions of will. It seems that this dwarf is some kind of dark boss, but he doesn't know how the system tricked him into working here. Why does the surname Sanderson sound a little familiar? It seems that in ancient times, a single dwarf followed the conquering king to light the sacred fire. The dwarf who forged a bunch of artifacts and weapons for the conquering king also had the surname Sanderson. Are they related, or is Sanderson the surname of all genius gnomes? The main character has already eaten almost all the gold and ore. So where can he find materials for forging? Sunian asked the master if he could forge without materials. Britt asked the master not to joke about the basic principles. If there are no materials, he must turn to the deity, not the blacksmith. This means that it is not possible. He also remembered that they still had a dozen silver chests that had been obtained from players and prisoners, which had not yet been opened. Perhaps there were materials and ore in them. He ordered Apocleus to bring all the silver chests and keys here. After that, the dragon began to open them. Open the silver chest. A purple item, a roll of silk toilet paper, was obtained. Then he received a purple item, 10 bottles of the highest quality glycerin. And then he received a jar of ancient pills of 6 flavors of the earth. What the hell? He opened all the chests and there wasn't even any ore in any of them. Damn it all to hell. This is a world where leaders are unworthy of living. She also noticed that the Dragon Lord was definitely tired. So Anna wanted to help him open them. Anna opened the silver chests and received 10 purple items of star steel. Just the appearance, a tasteless name, powerful characteristics, the only choice for forging equipment. She was the legendary lucky one. He asked her to open the rest of the chests even faster. The girl agreed. She opened the silver chests and received 1,000 pieces of forged iron. This was a common material for equipment, cheap and useful. Rich, forged 1,000 times and tempered 100 times by human blacksmiths. It could be used to cast high-level items. Next, she received a drawing of a water wheel. It would be best to build it in a stream near the field. This would effectively increase the yield of the fields. And then she received a transformation potion. This potion allows non-human creatures to take human form with a 10% increase in strength for 1 hour. Finally, he understood what the system meant in the description of Anna, the happy elf. She really was very lucky. Anna asked the Dragon Lord to look at this potion. It even smelled familiar. Anna had seen it in the Pearl Forest, and it was exactly the same as the transformation potion. Anna explained that it was a high-level potion for dwarf masters. They often made this precious potion to enable dwarves to take human form. Although it only took an hour to take human form, the potion was very expensive. So, it was a specific local product of this world. If his level increase was slow, he could go directly to the Pearl Forest and collect many of these transformation items. If one potion lasted for 1 hour, many would help him maintain his human form for a long time. She doesn't know when the Dragon Lord will regain his human form. Sunyan noticed that she was afraid of him turning into a human for some reason. Something was clearly wrong. Anna began to say that one should not read other people's thoughts. She would not talk to him anymore. After that, she turned away. The dragon handed over the materials he could provide at the moment. Sunyan asked to look at them and say what equipment could be made. Meetings immediately noticed the high quality of the materials. It would be possible to make a good collection of equipment. There would be equipment of the highest level. If only weapons were needed, more than 20 could be made. If armor was needed, about 5 could be made. The main character asked what would happen if weapons of the highest quality were needed. After all, the main thing now was to make the weapons popular, not to improve them. Higher-grade materials can be added to lower-grade materials to increase the strength of the lower-grade materials. So, according to his modest calculations, this is how much can be made from these materials. At first he thought of 30. However, the old man had 300 in mind. That many sets is not bad either. But opening treasure chests to get materials is not unlimited. He needs to find deposits of rare metals. Sunyan was a little worried. Would the old man's body be able to forge all of this? And when would the equipment be ready? Sir, you may doubt his eyes, but you must never doubt his professionalism. The old man used a quick expansion technique. Anna and Sunyan were impressed. The old man asked for a hammer. The entrance to the foundry. The density of this hammer is much higher than that of his armor. How can an old dwarf handle such a heavy blacksmith's hammer? This was to be expected from a master of his craft. Hippocleus reported to his master that the prisoners named by the main character were all in place. A dark prison. The man claimed that these stupid demons would never know how strong they were. No matter how these demons tortured them, none of them would feel any pain. They wouldn't even be able to kill him. A dragon leaned toward him, intending to offer him a possible alliance. But it was a pity that this opportunity had been lost, because this idiot did not respect monsters. This prisoner is a very brave man, and they should treat such a man with special respect. Hippocleus replied that they would do whatever their master said. The main character ordered that his dignity be cut off. He also asked if there had been a recent increase in the percentage of people who grew potatoes and experienced changes in their sexual orientation. After they had done all that, they were to heal his wounds, and when he had stabilized, tie his hands and feet. This man must be placed in a room with people of the wrong sexual orientation. It would be easier for him to die than to endure all this. He even began to claim that God would punish them and curse these bastard monsters. Sunyan left this guy so that he could later create plans for building heat weapons and obtain materials for casting. But now it seems he doesn't want to cooperate. So there's no point in keeping him here. The main character heard that this man was also a brave man. Kyle introduced himself as a brave healer. He has decent abilities, and now Kyle has one choice. Either he obeys and serves the main character, or he has no choice but to kill this man. For over 1,000 years, humanity has ruled this continent. Now it is the monster's turn to ride on people and control them. But if he refuses, he will die. Perhaps his technique will work on the black dragon. If he can weaken this dragon, he won't have to stay in this metal cage. One weakening will soften and deform the hard metal, and that will solve the problem. He began to claim that he wanted to be a subordinate of the great black dragon. He wanted to follow the dragon until his death and fight for him. Sunyan told him to come closer. The main character uses the dragon's blood to make a contract with him, free his mind and spirit, and transform him with his own blood. He realized that his chance to escape had arrived. He grabbed the dragon and used its weakness. The system reported that he had been subjected to a kidnapping technique. The will decision process is underway. The will decision is complete. The technique is useless. The subordinate rebelled against his master. The absorption and technique process is underway. The kidnapping technique was obtained. The master was subjected to a local deterioration technique. The resistance detection process is underway. The process is complete. The technique is ineffective. The subordinate rebelled against the master. The technique absorption process began, after which he received a deterioration technique. This was the art of reverse reaction. Could the absorption technique really be used in this way? Although some preliminary conditions must be met for this. But the absorption technique is simply amazing. Kyle couldn't believe that his technique had suddenly disappeared. He asked the dragon what it had done to him. The man began demanding that the cursed dragon return his power. Deterioration requires a resistance decision and, if successful, puts the enemy in a negative state, such as paralysis and aging. When used on inanimate objects such as steel and iron, the object rusts and food spoils. That's what you'd expect from a brave man. His skills are amazing. Capture. A volitional decision must be made. After a successful decision, the enemy can be deprived of a skill. It can also be used partially. For example, take away a face to achieve an effect similar to imitation camouflage. The owner can activate only up to 3 of the stolen skills. If there are more than 3, the owner must choose a replacement for one of the enemy's skills. To use skills, you must go through a determination. However, if no decision is made, it will be considered invalid and will not result in any punishment. Kyle asked what he was going to do. After that, the main character used a grab. The man demanded to be released. Sunyan didn't understand why a healer would need to learn how to throw an axe. Then he noticed a skill called water gliding. Why would a black dragon need to glide on water? He decided to try the next skill. After several attempts, the system congratulated him on acquiring a skill called improvement. The dragon was happy that he had finally been able to get it. The dragon even wondered if he could use this skill to reduce the caliber of the cannon in Francis and remove its spikes. He began fantasizing about Anna again. Seeing his expression, Anna thought that Mr. Dragon was thinking about strange things again. Sunyan noticed that there was another healing skill he hadn't picked up. In any case, he would have to wait for the lottery machine to reset. Instead of using the healing spell himself, he could just let the healer do the healing. He began to feel like he had seen this woman somewhere before, but he couldn't remember where. Sunyan asked Ipokli who was locked in the last cell. Ipokli asked if he hadn't ordered her to be locked up. The dragon didn't even remember that. The Thunder Mage, Celestina. Could the respected dragon have forgotten her? After all, they hadn't seen each other in a long time. Anna was happy to see her sister Evelyn. Sunyan told her to stop. Hadn't she died back then? As soon as they realized she was a ghost, they were immediately frightened. She gave it to her. If the girl has something from this person, she can take on the appearance of this person so that no one will notice. But there are only 3 chances, so she must use them wisely. This is the latest information. There is a chance, and she must kill this black dragon. This girl looked exactly like Evelyn. Sunyan saw that this person didn't have an information board. Could it really be a ghost? The system didn't say that ghosts could invade the dungeon. Suddenly, she disappeared in front of them and appeared right behind the black dragon. This girl wanted to send the terrible dragon back. What? Lightning struck the main character. Anna began to worry about him. For every wrong, there is a wrongdoer. If she needed help, she should have said so right away. Of course, he would help her first. Her bracelet was broken. Then she took on her true form. This girl didn't look anything like Evelyn. Her real name was Celestina. She had minus 80 points of likability. Celestina felt hatred. Of course, she didn't need help from that cursed dragon. After all, it was the dragon who had killed her. Anna joined the battle, wanting to protect the Dragon Lord. Celestina knew that she herself had taught Evelyn the art of ice. So how did this girl recognize him? Sunyan pressed her down with his paw and asked who she was and how she dared to fool the black dragon. Celestina called herself Evelyn's sister, who had been killed by the black dragon. Sunyan replied that she now needed to understand the whole situation. When the dragon found her in the Silver Forest, she had already been killed by Blade. He was the same man who had sold her to the bandits. However, Celestina believed that this was impossible. She had definitely seen the black dragon with her own eyes next to her body. She also confirmed that what the dragon had said was the absolute truth. Sister Evelyn had indeed died when Andreas's army invaded their territory. Celestina couldn't understand why all this had happened. The black dragon has no reason to be in Gadi, a place of such insignificance. Furthermore, given the current situation, she is in no position to question a noble dragon. The world boss, the Stormworm King, has been detected approaching the Black Dragon's territory. The Stormworm King has entered the sphere of influence. The Master's influence is growing. The influence of the underground city is growing. And the main character didn't understand what the hell this wild cucumber was doing on his territory. If he likes being the world boss, then let him be. Why capture his possessions at all? If the world boss comes here, he will definitely attract a large number of players from the punitive squad. These people must be nearby, setting up camp and waiting for him. He asked the system where the Stormworm King was now. They couldn't let him get close. The location of the Stormworm King is marked on the map. His coordinates are 3415.7938. The master can check this location himself. The dragon immediately flew away, shouting that he had urgent business to attend to. He left everything here for her. Anna asked the Dragon Lord where he had gone. The world boss, The Stormworm King. Level 4. The Stormworm King was wounded and weak. However, for the master of the system, he was nothing more than a wriggling noodle. The main character wanted to get this insignificant worm away from his territory. The Stormworm King also didn't understand where the Black Dragon had come from, especially in the Silver Forest. He remembers that there is only a spider with 5th-level soul webs here. In any case, it doesn't matter. The damn humans are coming, so he'd better run away first. He saw the big dragon and now wants to run away without saying a word. His territory is not a place for such reptiles to come and go as they please. The king of the Stormworms explained that he didn't know this was the Black Dragon's territory, but he is being pursued by a large number of human warriors and mages. So if he doesn't leave quickly, he could get the Black Dragon into trouble. Not a bad attitude. He could leave if he wanted to, but first he would have to pay for it. After all, these waters belong to the Black Dragon, and the blood of the Worm King had stained them, and the dragon would have to clean them of this dirty blood. The king of the Stormworms explained that he couldn't do anything, but his lair was west of the cave. There were many good things 6 miles away, and he promised to bring them when he recovered. Since he had nothing to offer at the moment, his worthless life was not enough to pay for the debt. Behind him, he was being pursued by the warring humans, and in front of him was the Black Dragon. The Worm King thought he could easily lure the stupid dragon to the humans. The main character asked him if he really wanted to run away. The man with the tail blamed his companion for everything. After all, it was because of him that the king of the Stormworms was able to escape. Otherwise, he would have died from a cannon. The man with the sword replied that it was obvious that there were flaws in their operation. Besides, this boss was not someone who could be dealt with by one person alone. They needed to work together. Someone reported that the boss had returned. The man with the tail didn't understand what was going on. Could this boss have escaped from them and now returned to certain death? He told his men to get ready. His beloved was returning to meet them all. Suddenly they noticed someone flying toward them. It was a huge black silhouette. The system sent a notification that a hidden boss had been detected. A legendary 4th-level creature. A black dragon. This was an enemy they definitely weren't expecting to see right now. The main character was delighted to see so many insects here. But the people didn't understand why such an impressive creature wasn't marked as a world boss. Was it really weaker than that ugly black spaghetti worm? This was to be expected. The Black Dragon's attention was now focused on the people, so he could easily escape while it was busy with them. Sunian saw the escaping worm and realized that this bastard had led him here, and now wanted to escape. Of course, the main character wouldn't let that happen. He used his dragon's breath to attack. The people started to run away. A silver chest was visible there, and now the Stormworm King was roasted. People assumed that the floating sausage was actually the king of stormworms, and now he was dead. The guy decided to use the identification technique. Then he saw that the identification technique only showed the level and race, but did not know the skills or weaknesses of this boss. There were a lot of question marks in the information about the Stormworm King, but at least then you could see his skills. People noticed that what was under the dragon was not the horizon, but a life bar. But this life bar was very long. He tried to calm people down. This dragon was only able to kill the Stormworm King because they had severely wounded him. Since he has a life bar just like the Stormworm King, they will be able to wound and even kill him. What a bunch of fools. Now that the right to kill the world boss had been exhausted by this Black Dragon boss, the only hope was to keep the rewards in the treasure chest. They had to take the chest while they still could. Sun Yan wanted to see what these elite players were capable of. He tried again to calm his subordinates, telling them that they had to hold back the dragon's breath. The priest should remain in the water, and they should cover the warrior who was sustaining the blood. As soon as the dragon's breath passed over them, they should jump into the water. Then the countdown began, and when the count reached 1, they were restrained. The guy immediately praised everyone for their excellent teamwork, but the main character remained silent. People began to pull the chains together in the hope of bringing down the Black Dragon. The dragon realized that they just wanted to bring him down from the sky. Since they wanted to do it so badly, Sun Yan even decided to help them. The main character would play with them a little. These games were so fun that people started asking for help. After that, the main character decided to crush them with his weight. As it turned out, this man was from the Tianzi family. He would never lose his fighting spirit. And today, he would give the Black Dragon a chance to try his famous technique. The name of this famous flying meteor technique. The system reported that the player dealt 1 point of damage to the mutant Black Dragon boss. It's simply impossible. The damage inflicted by flying meteors is extremely high. Even the thick-skinned king of stormworms can be dealt thousands of damage, but now a single strike with this technique only dealt 1 point of damage. Sunyan leaned forward, wanting to know who had just stabbed him. He then pushed the person away from his body. They couldn't even break through the black dragon's defense. Could this monster really be invincible in this game? Suddenly, they heard a whisper like the sound of the god of death. This was a first-class trick from the first-class player McCree from the village of Singing Birds. He decided to seize the initiative while the black dragon was busy. Macri fired bullets straight at the creature. The main character managed to dodge the bullets with his wing. People thought there was hope, as the life bar began to decrease by 1%. It turned out that this trash wasn't so invincible after all. They just needed to attack together. As soon as the people wanted to attack, they immediately saw that its health bar had returned to 100%. The guys couldn't quite understand what had just happened. It was truly incredible. Perhaps it wasn't too late for them to escape. Meanwhile, McCree was already running away with the chest in his arms. The merchant noticed his escape and realized that this bastard had just made them risk their lives, while he secretly took the chest with the treasure. Sun Yan was equally angry, because this player had dared to deceive him. He had worked so hard to get this chest, and the man had simply stolen it. Now he was definitely finished. So the main character simply decided to burn him. How lucky McCree was that he managed to dodge it. He even started teasing the dragon, who simply couldn't hit him. Out of nowhere, an old man appeared and pinned down the fleeing man. What a disgrace. He was unhappy with what he saw. The old man couldn't understand how a real warrior could be so blinded by his desire, by his greed. The old man's name was Petrov, and he was a little late. However, he was very lucky to have encountered the hidden boss, namely, the Black Dragon. This battle would be a battle for his glory. Sun Yan simply replied that Petrov wanted to die again. Meanwhile, the old man simply took out another dagger and decided to kill himself. In fact, the main character had seen many people seeking death, but this man was the first to kill himself. Now that's a real warrior. After that, the old man began to drink some kind of potion. At first, one might think that it was a healing potion, but then his health bar dropped from 10% to 8%. He demanded that the Black Dragon fight him quickly. They recognized this man immediately. His surname was quite well known, but another asked if Petrov was really that strong. This old man is insanely strong. He is far above ordinary people. There are even rumors that 99 beasts died under his heavy sword. Petrov received the revealed profession of a warrior and its exclusive abilities. The lower his blood level, the more damage he deals. And when his blood level drops to 5%, the damage becomes even greater. He causes a 10-second invincible blood block and increases his speed and attack power by 50%. Who would have thought that this old man would be so strong? Some were even afraid to leave because of this special ability. Others didn't understand why they couldn't be as strong, wondering if they could change. Petrov explained to the Black Dragon that this was his strongest attack. However, the main character also had no intention of sitting idly by while being attacked. He too decided to respond. At first, people tried to figure out who had won the fight. Then they all noticed that for some reason, the Black Dragon's arm had suddenly turned into a woman with black hair. This time, Chelsea was fighting against Petrov, and again, he lost. How pathetic their hopes were. Sun Yan didn't know he was sealed, but he received an unexpected bonus, namely the ability to resist damage. Petrov asked the Black Dragon if he really thought he had won. His blood volume had dropped to 5%. Who would have thought that this man would still be alive? Someday, Petrov would become a powerful warrior. Thanks to the Black Dragon, he had 5% of his blood left. He would be invulnerable for 10 seconds. The dragon's attacks would be useless against him. The Black Dragon only has a few seconds to accept its death. There weren't many men left who were as strong and hardworking as him. They decided to support Petrov by giving him a buff and a shield. After all, he wasn't fighting alone. As soon as he felt the boost, he immediately attacked the Black Dragon. The old man immediately turned around, because there was no sign of the Black Dragon anywhere. Suddenly, he heard the voice of the main character saying that 10 seconds was very little time, and that it was worth nothing. Since those seconds had passed, it was now his turn. He activated the teleportation spell. Water poured down on the players from above thanks to the teleportation spell. And then the dragon decided to add a little more heat for them. People started to swim away as soon as they realized that the Black Dragon was heating up the lake. Apparently, he just decided to boil them alive in this water. Those players were pretty good too. Now that he's done everything, he can go back to his treasure and he began fantasizing about the girl once again. Then, out of nowhere, a red-haired man attacked him, striking him with his sword. Because of this attack, he lost 12,537 health points, despite his sturdy armor.